Welcome everybody to week 4 of Modern League here at the Nerd Rage Gaming storefront in lovely Buffalo Grove, Illinois. My name is Haviva Goodman, back from a long sick hiatus.
She's back.
Bear with me if my throat gets scratchier if I cut my mic to cough real quick. And Dom is here, of course. He held down the fort last week with our producer, Bryce. Bryce is working the front tonight, so I'm doing production as well as commentary, so bear with me if the the transitions are not as smooth as usual, but I'm going to get our players started here. We got a little bit of a mirror, sort of not. Dom will let you know what's up.
We have the lovely May here on the left side. I came by the NRG RCQ happening this past weekend, and we're playing close to a mirror match among these two players, but May is altering the deck list to include things like Thought Scour, more copies of Consider, and basically any way to get cards in the graveyard, because we are playing Abhorrent Oculus, the new 2 blue 5/5 that you gotta exile 6 cards from the yard, but then it manifests dreads on your opponent's upkeep. So if May can slam that bad Mammer Jammer into play, this is going to allow it to be its own army in a can. And for those who don't know, May also made the effort to get the Lord of the Rings copies of a lot of these cantrips. So if you say, I've never seen that version of Consider before, that's the Lord of the Rings Commander version.
There you go. I also didn't realize Abhorrent Oculus's creature type is just I.
Just I.
I dig that.
I believe May and I were chatting casual. We didn't actually Scryfall up. I believe it's the third I ever to be printed.
Ooh.
After Eye of Urborg and Eye of something other fancy name. I believe it's our third eyeball.
Who's got it in chat? We'll see. We'll see.
Let me know if you can get the name of the other eyeball. So, and Jared here on kind of your classic blue-black Frogtide. So it's kind of May with, a little bit of a package of spice against Jared on kind of the classic version. And the question will be, and I will look forward to finding out the answer. I saw May tweet out a slightly more spicy version of this deck that also had Unearth to allow you to literally just get that boy back into play, both for your frogs and the big eyeball.
Right. I know she played it in one of the first days you could play it. She played our Modern RCQ last Saturday with Duskmourn cards. This is our first Modern League with Duskmourn Legal. Yeah. We'll see if anyone else has thrown some cards in. I know. What is it? The Green Overlord has seen some play.
Ooh.
I think that's more Pioneer, but we'll check out deck lists in between rounds here.
Though I know there were 2 Duskmourn cards being played at the RCQ here at Energy over the weekend.
Ooh.
One was FOMO, Fear of Missing Out, in the Hollow One deck, and the second was Abhorrent Oculus here in May's deck. I would love to know more from any folks seeing any Duskmourn cards out there in the wild. I am currently obsessed, capital O, obsessed, with 4X Say Its Name and Altanok the Thrice Called, because it's just cool and fun, and I want to be putting it in bad decks for months to come.
I'm excited about the new
the
new Merfolk card. It's
so
Merfolk
good.
Trickster, but dare I say better?
It got glow up.
It's glowed up. It's a little bit different. It gives a stun counter this time. Doesn't remove abilities, but you can shuffle the creature into the deck.
Yeah, it allows it to literally let the Merfolk drag them to the bottom with them. Right?
Oh, that's flavorful. Yeah, I didn't realize exactly.
Because the Merfolk literally stuns you so that you can't move, and then drowns you with it.
Sick. Anyway, people are doing modern things here.
This is just Fetch, Shocking, Surveil. That's why we're chatting the games.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a single spellcast outside of a Consider.
Consider, it's on both sides.
Yeah.
Jared here with the Assassin's Creed swamp of...
Ooh, sure.
It's like London factory pumping smog out, and everyone's like, that sure is a swamp.
I think of the 5 land types, swamp would be
pollution?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We got bogs and stuff.
We got bogs.
According to Gatherer, 9 cards have the creature type I, 5 of which are just I, no other subtype.
Dang. Well, shout out to the chatter who did the work. I was just winging it.
Yep. So we got that.
May here setting up watery graves all around. What I love about our current mana situation is Jared very actively searched up this swamp, and May now playing her swamp. Jared giving the casual shake of the head. Both, and I mean both players, have Harbinger of the Seas in their hands right now. But May now revealing that May also had the swamp, that both of them are going to have slightly ineffective 3-mana 2/2s.
Yeah, May usually playing Harbinger of the Tides, excuse me, Seas.
This is of the seas, right? Yeah, the tides is the bounce one. The
Yes,
other
the
Merfolk.
like kicker one, I
Yeah.
think it is. Yeah, because she's been a fish fan for a long time. As we see the first frog come down, quickly
Gets
spell
snared.
snared by May.
Yeah, Jared's hand is stacked with threats. I'm talking frog, bowmaster, harbinger, and now May using this window to try to land their own frog.
Indeed, Jared's got some mana open. No spell snare of his own, though. She'll play the backside of Sink into Stupor, and he'll fatal
Push him.
push it instead.
Walk up and I
Just
push
push
him.
a frog. Oh my goodness. There's this frog that has been like hanging out. It's not there in the mornings, right? But then I'll come home at night and it's just sitting like under my stoop, and I
Mm,
really want to pick it up and hold it, but I googled it, and you're like the
yeah,
chemicals on
yeah.
your hands are not good for
But
porous frog
you
skin.
can bring him a treat. Find out
Oh,
what frog treat is and bring him a treat.
like flies, right?
I don't
Bugs.
know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Can they have carrots? Chad, let me know. What's a frog treat?
I think of all the vegetables, carrot has to be one of the bad ones.
Maybe a pea? A little
Yeah,
squishy guy?
something softer probably.
Chat, while we're draw going again for this moment here, let me know what little treat we could feed a frog.
I want to talk about Fatal Push actually because it's been I love Kaladesh block, one of my favorite blocks.
Mhm.
Fatal Push, right? The art is someone like Sparta kicking someone
Sparta
off.
kick, yes.
I have played a lot of Pioneer where my angels get fatal pushed, and I think that
Makes
just
no sense.
doesn't work.
Uh,
How do you push something off a ledge when it flies? I think fatal push should be errated to not be able to kill flying creatures. Thank
Uh,
you. This is my TED talk.
Bowmaster here is going to be a part of this fight over Consider as May goes for the Warhammer 40k Go for the Throat on that Bowmaster.
Oh, thank you. There's so many go for the throats. This is Assassin's Creed go for the
Yes.
throat too.
Did you
Oh,
know?
Lorcana card.
Yeah,
Hold on.
Mulan is here for our orc army.
Oh, sure.
Did you know in the borderless full art of Fatal Push, it's a continuation of the same scene? It's the person like half fallen off the airship.
Oh, that's sick. Is
Yeah.
that like double masters or something?
Yeah, something like that. So it's
Mm.
like the continuation of that scene and that moment. So it's them, like 10 seconds after the push.
Yeah. It's another round of D&D forward.
Yes. Another frog in, another frog pushed. What's going to end up happening in this matchup is it's just going to be whichever is kind of the last threat to stick. These
Indeed.
players have piles of removal, but the decks typically have, let's say, about 12-ish threats, right? The 4 frogs, the 4 Murktides, the 4 Bowmasters, maybe a Harbinger, maybe a Salty. We know that both players have Harbingers. But what's going to happen is we're just going to sling these spells back and forth until one of them runs out. And another Bowmaster on May self-targeting with this Thought Scour.
Down to 15 off the ping.
There is Unearth. There is Unearth. Wee Unearth alert. Yes, May.
I was going to ask you, too, because this is a pretty grindy matchup, if either of these players are going to be concerned about decking out. Does May, with some more recursion than Jared, have that edge because that game might go so long?
I will say I think the recursion will be good because of how long the game will go.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I fear decking because once you get to like Murktide 3 or 4, they just might be big enough to...
Sure.
And these players are going to kind of chip to damage each other, as you see May trying to resolve this Murktide. But Jared also has this 3/3 army, which is going to allow just this push back and forth. Jared letting May do the math, looking at a hand of 3 removal spells.
Right. None of the creatures in either player's deck has vigilance, so there could just be some
Yes.
swings back and forth.
And very importantly, a clean play here from Jared. Jared, though, having the open mana to cast this Shoot the Sheriff, waited until his own turn, untapped with all of his mana, because a lot of this blue-black mirror is fighting over these spells, whether it's counter magic and the likes. Jared made sure to have access to the most of his mana when starting that fight.
Oh, that's a good point. I need to get some deck lists out
Consider.
of here so we can look at exactly what people have going on during sideboarding.
I hate Dark Slick Shores.
Is it your same issue? No, because it's the slow land. I was gonna ask because it's like your Spire Bluff sort
No,
of.
it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same
Oh
problem.
no, that is the fast
Same
land.
problem.
Yeah.
They never do what I want them to do.
Yeah. What is it? You could play the Verges now.
Yes, so people are actively trying. I've seen, I think it's Mengu is trying like 1 or 2 of these Verges in this Frogtide deck. That's just all blue-black lands.
Yeah. How about just a Underground Sea in your deck?
Yes, because it's blue first, black second, which is what you want. You want to be able to cast your cantrips and your interactive spells and eventually have black mana.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting the new cycle because they are going to have the options to over time fill out that cycle with 20 new lands for us. because
Oh, because you could do the full cycle and then the
and
reverse
then the
cycle.
reverse of the full cycle.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yes.
I do really like that they continue to find rare
Yes.
land cycles.
Yes, just
very
more ways to
impressive.
do lands and be like, whoa. And they're like, well, it's evocative of this. It's like, yes, but it is also new.
I'm still waiting for them to bring the playtest card into reality. It's like the Triome that comes in untapped if you control one of the other colors as a
cool.
permanent.
Jeez.
So like it's a Grixis land, but if you control a green or white, it comes in untapped. I
Oh,
believe
that's cool.
is how that's I don't know, it's a playtest card. So like
May hear casting the eyeball.
I want to say it's like Taiga Stadium or something.
Oh,
I'll have to look.
My favorite playtest card is there's a Bayou, but every time you tap it, you get a poison counter.
Oh.
And there's definitely like play in there too of like how much someone is willing to pay for mana.
Totally.
May paying the cost here, exiling the 6 cards for the Abhorrent Oculus. And importantly, this card's going to be able to grind, just start making an army of 2/2s while being a 5/5 flyer.
Mm-hmm.
And Jared's already used 2 pushes, 2 shoot the sheriffs. Like, this is the question is when we get to this part of the game of the resources being used, what's left over at the end of it? Jared's got this 3/3 army and a frog, but only 2 cards drawing up to 3, whereas May is going to start developing this army. Not army as the orc army, but this
the BTS army?
Yeah, this slowly amassing a large selection of 2/2s.
There you go.
And what's great is the first Oculus always fuels the second one as your manifest dreading. So you're putting a card in the yard each time. So when you need to exile those 6, the first one starts to fuel the second one.
Right.
And
lots of magic still to play here. May's sitting at 5 points of life to Jared's 16.
Yeah, not a lot on May's side, but in this Sink in a Stupor is going to be a problem, and May only has the 1 card left in hand.
Mm-hmm. Is it a good one? She loves to play with her hand face down.
Oh yes, face down.
Ooh,
it is counterspell.
That's a great card.
Because May.
Oh!
And here's the force that Jared's been holding for quite some turns, and May in the manifest dreading process put a counterspell into the yard and then just had a counterspell in hand anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And now eyeball back to hand. May does not even have the amount to pay to be able to cast it. And Jared now going to be jump the frog. So exile the 3 cards to give it flying. And the orc army being a 3/3 is just big enough to rumble in through this 2/2. So May most likely force the jump block to just not lose the game.
All right, I'll take a bit of damage here. Not quite dead.
It's another eyeball!
Woo!
Wow, and if May got to untap, May would have been able to just pay the 3 to manifest flip up that eyeball and kind of bypass a lot of the things in the way.
Whoa.
Double fetching here.
Whoa!
Just cleaning it up. Oh, because I was wondering if there's surveillant because there are now exactly 6 cards in the yard, so May is going to be able to cast this copy of the Abhorrent Oculus, and if we get to Jared's upkeep, May will be able to manifest, and that's the exact 2 blockers to block the 2 creatures Jared has.
And the Oculus flies, so that
It
can
flies.
block the jumped frog if he does.
And the 2/2 can block the 3/3 on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
One of Jared's 2 cards in hand. Oh, it's Harbinger and Darkslick Shores, so
that's not interaction.
go for throw on the frog.
Whoa!
Okay, great draw step, and the go for the throat.
Sick, nicely done.
Do frogs have throats? This and more.
Yes, very much.
Oh yeah, they're very throaty. You're right,
yeah,
right,
very
right.
tonguey too.
Okay, thank you.
More
Jared,
like fart stink shores.
Oh.
Nice cat. Nice.
Jared here drawing counterspell, just kind of a moment off of really needing a counterspell.
Yeah,
This
turn
abhorrent-
late there.
And May slightly in the driver's seat every moment.
Oh
May, how dare you? This is the second time that eyeball put another eyeball face down.
From the depths, bringing the eyeball back up into the battlefield from the dreaded.
And now the question is how aggressive May wants to get. But May is at 1.
I think
1. Yeah,
Yeah.
1.
it's about as.
But May knows if May can make it to the upkeep, 2 blockers, right? 2 manifest dreads, 1 for each of these eyeballs.
Right.
So
She will go to a combat here. Take Jared down to 11 to her 1.
yeah, importantly, May can attack for 10 in the air next turn, not 11. So Jared, and I just saw May put the 4th eyeball face down. I just saw it in the manifest draw was the 4th eyeball.
That's crazy.
So these are blockers galore. This is a consider. So Jared needs to dig.
That's what
That's a frog.
That's what this deck does best.
Oh, it's a frog. Frog is
Remove
not
and
enough.
dig.
I think you got to bin that frog.
That's crazy. How do you bin the card that your deck is named after?
I mean, on the hunt for the other card it's named after.
That's fair. That is very fair.
It's Counterspell, Darkslick
Yeah,
Shore,
you're
and
running
the
out of stuff to jump the frog.
Oh, and if May does get to untap, it's flip the third eyeball, and that's just 15 power flying, surviving at exactly 1 point of life. That's the thing too. This mana base can sometimes be really painful. So playing the new Verges, right, allows you a just pain-free mana source that's untapped always and never cost you life.
Right.
Oh no, is it good?
I played against Chris and Pioneer with them, and he just kept calling them like the dual land names. He was like, "Okay, I play Underground
Yeah,
Sea
play
for
Underground
turn."
Sea.
I was like, "He's
Oh.
kind of right."
Okay, Jared picked one of the manifests to gain control with Archmage's Charm, and it was the one that was not the eyeball. It's the one that's not the eyeball.
Oh, 50-50 shot. How could he know?
Oh, awesome.
Wow.
May taking, I mean, let's talk about Eyeball Frog. The eyeballs are exactly what took that game down. This is what I was saying is it was going to come down to like the last threat of the game.
Right.
And the last threat was May landing and an eyeball surviving to give just enough blockers, made it through that turn cycle, and then took over the game.
All right, let's take a look at this deck list she's working with.
Ooh, Eyeball Frog.
Eyeball Frog, we've got lots of cards. I cannot read the sideboard. You're going to have to do it for me.
So there are 3 Consign to Memories, 2 Stern Scolding, 2 Surgical Extraction, 3 Break the Ice, 2 Mystical Dispute, 2 Deluge, and a Nile Spellbomb. Give me these 2 Disputes and this Spellbomb, and so this is the great Surgical Extraction debate.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, oh, okay, well, do you bring it in because you trade for a removal spell and then you exile that card and they lose all those threats? Or you can do what the Amazing Charlie did when they won the Energy Teams event of like using the surgical to like remove counter spells from the deck while peeking at the hand to start resolving your spells. There's a lot of things that they could do, and there are at least kind of 2 free spots because I can't imagine trying to keep these 2 Harbinger of the Seas in the deck post board.
Yeah.
So that at least allows spots for like the 2 Disputes, then maybe finding just 1 Shave to get a Spell Bomb, probably like pick your Poison of the Thought Scours or the Considers. And then the real question is, does May have interest in Surgicals?
Sure thing. We'll take a look at a
Darkslick short thing.
A generic
Frog
list as well. Jared did not submit. He still got his energy list in Discord, but this is one from Goldfish, so we'll take a look there. See sort of the changes between May's little more brood list versus a more stock list.
Yeah, they're very similar cards. You're looking at things like these 2 Harbingers, Consign to Memory, Stern Scolding, Surgicals, Break the Ice, Glistening Deluge, and Toxic Deluge. So a lot of cards that were just mentioned in the previous deck, but importantly here, none of that additional blue interaction like Mystical Disputes or the like, that I almost feel like a sideboard like this, if this was my deck, I might try to same 75 it. We know that Jared's version is Harbingers in the main, so I'm most likely swapping those Harbingers out for any card in my sideboard with text and then going back into the game.
There we are. We'll head back down to the action here. As players shuffle up for game 2 with Jared on the draw.
I did ask them to use boogie boards to send us messages about bad beats and misplays, and I guess that's begun with just the word unlucky.
That's good. Yeah, we put out some sticky notes for players too for like Cavern of Souls
Love
and
it.
Needle. So there's some little goofs we can do.
Love a
games.
goof. Yeah,
it's fun. This is the time for goofs. We are in a league, but this is still local, so we're here to have a good time. And then if you do well, you also get a lot of money at the end.
Yes.
But the main priority, have a good time, play some Magic, maybe learn a little, make a new friend.
Yeah, and this is, we're showcasing the popularity of these frog decks.
Oh,
it's
gosh.
not just these 2 players. It's literally like half the room out there all the time.
I'll count real quick.
Oh, love. We're going to get a little metagame breakdown.
1, 2,
Uh?
3, 4, 5. 5 of the 25.
Yeah.
So a full 25% of the room.
Well, nope.
And then
Nope, run that back. 525 is a fifth, so 20%.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay. 20% of that room out there, though. 5 out of 25 players.
And then there's just a regular Murktide list. Michael Ryan, who, yeah.
He's a frog gamer. He might be on like Grixis or something, but
Yeah.
I'd lump him in. That's a sixth.
I agree. I agree. And then, of course, all the energy decks as well, and our usual our usual meta game of Spice. Someone asked the other day, what's the meta game like here? And I say it's pretty darn diverse. We got mill, we got goblins, we got rhinos tonight.
Yo, wait,
Rhinos?
what? Okay, wait. So literally, if I had to define the energy metagame, it is frogs and cards people like.
Yeah.
Those are what the two things people play. Is
I-
the deck they like or frog.
I think modern's a good format for that. Just playing cards that you enjoy.
Learning the thing you like, and
Mhm.
then as long as it's kind of good, just get good at it, and that should make up the rest of percentage points.
As long as you throw in some Modern Horizons cards, you're
Yeah, 1, 2, or 3.
whichever season of Modern Horizons you like.
It's unearth time. So
Already?
these are
Okay.
important cards for May in this matchup because the unearths just equal basically 4 more threats in the deck list, right? So when we're comparing threats of who's got frogs, eyeballs, Murktides, these unearths just equal more threats, so allows May to have this fight. And this unearth being a 1-mana frog allows May to slam counterspell to interact while resolving this frog on turn 3.
I really like the line of unearthing the Oculus as well because of the additional casting cost is kind of a nombo with the Murktide frog thing. And I guess not Murktide, but frog. Cuz it can pump the Murktide but leaves less fuel for the frog later because you have to exile out of the graveyard.
But what if I had a frog in play and I drew the eyeball, I discarded the eyeball through the frog and then unearthed it back into play?
Sure, yeah.
th-
There's
this-
a lot of fun lines.
They're hanging out together for sure.
So May with the first frog on the table. Jared had the first frog last game and didn't win, so we'll see how this first frog fares.
What if I put a Porin Oculus in the Goryo sideboard and then just full juked with a full stock sideboard? People take out all the removal.
Yeah. We'll try it. Give it a go. Why not?
The Smoggy Swamp has returned once again. Yeah, and talk about it again. Both these players presenting their basic swamps. So if one of these two players did leave Harbingers in, the players indicating to each other that I draw these swamps anyways.
Indeed. I think you wisely saw that those are the pretty free flex slots in the deck, or at least removal.
Flex slot mentioned. But yeah, the Harbingers are really good for beating up on like these big mana strategies or the greedier and greedier the mana base.
Yo, is that why George is playing Deadlock? You get flex slots in that game.
Yo, really?
Yeah.
Then probably.
Dude,
May.
brand synergy.
Oh, here it is. Discard the eyeball to the frog. It has been foretold.
You saw with your special eye,
with my
your
gamer eyes.
your inner eye,
Here
your
it is.
gamer eye,
The gamer eyes.
the gamer glasses. There it is. There's the unearth.
With 2 mana back to fight over it.
Mhm.
And if Jared here
Is he
trying
biting? He looks like he's like.
No, because Jared has Spell Pierce and May has 2 mana up. These unearths are pulling their incredible weight in this game number 2.
That's crazy. Upkeep.
Upkeep, make it a guy. Make it a guy.
I've been leaning towards gendering my non-gendered tokens in the female way just to be
Ooh,
different.
Yes, of course.
Make a little girl.
Make a little girl. A little lass?
Little lass.
Little lady?
I like that because little girl's an actual card.
Yes. An uncard.
An uncard.
I like make a little lady.
I do too.
Make them regal. A queen. Singing a super on the eyeball. Forced to fight back.
Pitching a Murktide. Okay. You
Yeah.
do have 4 in the deck, so don't need all of them. With Jared counters with his own Murktide hardcast.
But is there enough fuel to make it bigger than the eyeball?
With a frog in play, you don't need it right away.
This is true.
He'll have
But,
4,
yep,
so it is still bigger. 4 counters on the
Consider.
Murktide. That's a consider. Been
Spell
a
snare.
spell snare. 2 cards in hand from May. Jared looks
No,
hellbent.
May, no. If May had considered, May would have drawn down to this mystical dispute and would have been able to tag the Murktide with it.
Oof.
But 3 mana? Eyeball.
Another eye.
Jared, these eyeballs can double block your Murktide.
Yo, there's some joke there because May has glasses if she gets all 4 eyes on the field.
Well, yeah, May currently at 6 eyes. Affectionate.
Sure.
Not
Yes.
direct.
Tone indicator affectionate.
Yeah, affectionate. This is a counter spell face down as a 2/2. This looks like a Murktide face down as a 2/2. Nope, land face down as a 2/2. And
They're all
again,
eyes. They're all eyes.
yes,
Based on game one, they're
they're all
all more eyes.
right. As we know, May frequently manifested the other eyes, and Jared just giving
Oh,
up. Just giving up. And May explaining that I drew this dispute, just didn't quite line it up correctly. Jared realizing the hand of Spell Pierce is just not going to take it down. These eyeballs are just going to battle and again unearth, absolutely pulling its weight and putting May 2-0 up on classic Frogtide here with Eyeball Frog.
dang. May cooking some good stuff. We'll not
Mm.
even let Jared take a game off of her in round one there. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues, so we don't have a backup match to switch to. But before we head into a break, we'll talk about nerdragegaming.com. nerdragegaming.com, where you can find all your Magic singles for your next RCQ, PTQ. You know, we got Foundations coming up, so those are kind of they're called Spotlight
Spotlight
Series now.
Store Champs, if there's any still
Store
happening
Champs.
somewhere.
Duskmorn is coming up with Borderless
Mhm.
Void Winnower. So
Okay.
that's a pretty neat card. I know not really 60 card playable,
Yeah.
but there is another format that plays that.
Picking up some spice for your Pioneer deck for the upcoming NRG Series event.
Absolutely. We're listing more cards every day, too. So if you don't see something in stock, add it to your wish list. We also ship countrywide. You can pick up at the NRG Series events. And we have a rewards program. So the more you spend, the more you save. We're also in the process of integrating all of our non-Magic inventory over to the site. So that will include Magic foils, Pokemon, Digimon, Lorcana, and soon to be... Sorry, did I say One Piece?
Nope.
One Piece and soon to be Union Arena. We are adding a 6th game to our singles inventory. 3 Bandai games, count that. You can sign up for pre-release now for Union Arena for next Wednesday. Soon these Magic folk will have to share their spot. They're the only day left on the schedule that don't have a second game to play alongside. But we're adding that 6th game, so lots of gaming to be had. We'll talk about our weekly schedule probably next round break. But with that being said, we're going to head into a break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Welcome back, folks. We're in round 2 of Wednesday Night Modern here at the Nerd Rage Gaming Storefront. We had a mirror match last time, and we got
Spice!
something very different. This time we got Rhinos. No one told David that.
Yeah, David's been gone for a while. David has returned, and the deck list has remained.
He's not playing Violent Outburst, so his deck is legal. The meta game a little updated since then as well. We got Esper Shadow as well.
Yes.
So very fun matchup for y'all for round 2 here. We'll go get our players started.
So, for those who don't remember, this is the Rhino strategy with Crashing Footfall using your cascading creatures. And then on the right side here with this Esper Shadow list. So that means that Ethan is playing kind of the blue-black shell that we're used to, but using some white cards like Esper Sentinel and Ranger Captain of Eos. Esper Sentinel to get a little bit of that card advantage, and the Ranger Captain to find these Death Shadows. So if you see Ethan fetch shocking on times that you typically wouldn't, that's to get that life total down below 13 to start getting the power of these Death Shadows.
Yeah, he's going to want to get his life total very low. David, not so much. He will also want to get David's or Ethan's
also
life
want to
total
get
low.
Ethan's. That's the fun back and forth of playing against shadow opponents. That every little point of damage matters in different ways.
Right. We'll get started here, though. We see a Lorien revealed for David to grab
The steam vents.
the steam vents.
Here off this Bloomborough forest.
Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what that was.
Yeah, it just looks like goo.
It looks like goo.
Oh, and David here drawing a Sacred Foundry, indicating to me that this is Domain Rhino. So on top of being kind of classic Rhino strats, I can, or that the second Cascader of choice being Ardent Plea, you got to cast that thing somehow.
Right, yeah, that was the fix for losing Violent Outburst, was to start to include Ardent Plea. Everything's at sorcery speed nowadays. Can't get those instant speed Rhinos anymore.
Just can't do it.
I'm looking at his deck list here. I'm trying to figure out the payoff for the domain.
Scion? Leyline Binding?
There is a
anything?
Leyline Binding. Yep.
Yeah, so just binding?
There's a one of Spice as well. We'll see if it
Ooh.
comes down. I'm not going to spoil it here.
Is it Questing Beast? I'm asking in the dark.
We'll see. I don't know.
Yo, Habiba nodded. It's Questing Beast.
You're supposed to keep it a secret, man.
Now, do you know why folks play Questing Beast?
Because it's amazing. It's got so much text on it.
Yes. One of the lines of text is that damage can't be prevented.
Oh.
And QB got haste. So you go Rhinos, get your 2 4/4s, untap Questing Beast, attack in for 12, and damage can't be prevented. So you get to push your Rhinos through the ring.
Yo, thanks for the subscription, Last God. Subscribe
Big
for
shout.
6 months.
Big
wow.
shout. Loving it.
Thank you so much. Any Jeskai control players tonight?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
we'll see if we got some time to put them on camera. Their games tend to drag, not always the best for coverage, but we know people enjoy them, so we try and get them on.
And there's one in the backup. So
Oh, is
depending-
there?
Yep.
Oh, never mind. There we go. Perfect.
So we'll see just in case, depending on how. Sorry, Ethan.
Ethan,
That's a Path to Exile in the scrying here with this preordained.
is that banned?
Path to Exile
Oh.
is banned in the other way of I ain't seen one of these in a while
Oh,
kind of
okay.
way.
The way you said it made me think oh, do we have to go stop him?
No. David here revealing Lorien once again.
It's because he doesn't want the life gain, right? From swords.
Definitely not legal here.
Oh, that's not legal. That's what I always
Yes.
I confuse the two. Okay.
Yeah, Path and Swords, the two really good 1-mana white removal.
Yeah.
Neither of which.
I'm gonna get them a life counter real quick. Hold on.
Oh yeah, we make sure we can catch up here. David here getting Hollowed Fountain, starting to get those pieces all put together to get the mana base online. There it is. We're good. Folks are just moving that over so that we can keep track of this game along with them. Like we said, David, they're picking up that Hollowed Fountain. And now the big question is what turn number 3 looks like for David. And it's an Ardent Plea off the top, a hand of all interaction.
Off the top rope.
And very importantly to point out, I'm getting this peek at Ethan's hand. I'm looking at fatal pushes. We're going back to the good old days where your opponent puts Rhinos into play and you look at your fatal push and go, really? Do I push one of these Rhinos?
There's the Ardent Plea.
Oh yeah, we got a reader. Ethan reading the Ardent Plea. Trigger.
We got a reader over here as well. I'm gonna pull it up for all our gamers at home.
1 blue-white enchantment. It has Exalted and Cascade. It has so much text for 2 words of game text. is
Yeah, where's the promo version where it's just like the 2 words centered?
yeah, here's some Stubborn Denial on the Crashing Footfalls. So card you don't typically see out of, say, like a classic blue-black frog deck, but Ethan, leaning on having cards like Death Shadow in play, typically can turn on the Ferocious of Stubborn Denial, but also here doing its counter unless you pay 1 mode. Because also folks in the game of Magic are very mana efficient in the early turns of the game, allowed Ethan to cash that card in.
Dude, a Jawari Disruption.
I hate Jawari Disruption. Shout out to every blue-white player in
I've
Pioneer that's ruined my life.
I've been traumatized by that card in Pioneer. Oh my goodness.
I screamed, and I do mean scream, a large expletive in the middle of an NRG RCQ when I got Jawari'd out of a game.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's really funny, dude. Oh my
And
goodness.
then I was like, this is fine. I went on to, play the RCQ. 2 rounds later, the same thing happened to me again.
No.
Oh, yeah. Jawari was coming for me that day.
Yeah. I just don't respect that card. And
No.
you just don't play around it. It's fine.
I got to cast my 2 drops eventually. This frog landing here for Ethan. David does have this dead gone in hand, but the question is your dead mode can only do 2 damage. But the question is would Ethan discard a card to trade for that? Totally, you keep your frog. But David also has the gone mode that can bounce the frog. So if Ethan starts to dedicate discarding cards into it, David could then bounce it and kind of get like a 2, 3, 4 for 1, depending on just how far Ethan's going to go.
Totally. I think that's a good line there.
And David holding up the classic Rhinos interaction pieces of Subtlety and Force of Negation.
Ooh.
So depending on what issue Ethan tries to present, David will have answers. We can even hard cast here at the 4 mana.
Right.
Then when the Subtlety, if it survives and starts attacking, going to gain the Exalted from that Ardent Plea.
Ethan will surveil over a Giver,
Giver
of
of
Runes.
Runes. Yeah, also in a part of this White Splash that Ethan is working with, kind of this full Esper strategy. And Thoughtseize coming after David's hand.
On the stack, David thinking if he wants to use this dead gone, probably.
But the question, because we have 2 of them.
Oh, he does have 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
does David spend mana now before the Thoughtseize, or let it resolve, knowing that you have 2 copies of your important spell? And here it is. Looks like we're casting
will opt
Gone.
Sorry. Just
Casting
the gone. Just the gone.
Just
Gonquazy.
Gonquazy at Gonquazy.
Shout out. Follow me on Twitter. Sell me your cards.
Some of your cards. Ooh, Ethan, I believe, also has Chthonian Nightmare in hand, I believe.
Chthonian Nightmare.
Chthonian
Ooh,
Nightmare.
fun. I'm trying to find an Esper shadow list on
Good luck.
Goldfish right now. It's not very easy.
Good luck.
There might be some sort of shadow list.
Yeah, we can wing it on this one as a frog and a Death Shadow. Ethan at 10, so a 3/3 and a frog are here. Subtlety was taken from David, left with his Force and this dead gone. And the question is y'all got some Rhinos on the top? 1 green. I'm so sorry. I misspoke. They're the actual Rhinos, not the Cascade into Rhinos. They're on top for David. And if we make it to 4 turns from now, them 4/4s are on the way.
He's got some amount of life. Probably less in a minute here.
Yeah. And Ethan possibly looking at ways to deal a little bit of damage to themselves.
Rip a Shardless off the top.
Rip a Shardless off the top would definitely help. Shardless being the one additional blocker can help try to weather the Death Shadow storm.
One thing Rhinos don't do is fly, though.
The Rhinos, hey, thankfully, if there was a flying Rhino, we'd be living in quite the world.
Oh, man. That's a great visual image. I like to think that if a Rhino flew, it wouldn't have wings proportional to its body. It would have, like, teeny little, like the caterpillar from A Bug's Life kind of wings.
Sure, of course. Of course.
Very specific reference. Excuse me, folks.
The question is, nope, looks like Ethan's in our second main now, preordaining. Because the dead gone is very face up, Ethan not really incentivized to start putting discarding cards into the frog.
He does see another frog on top with this preordain.
So many frogs.
I would think he runs a playset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still looking for a list here. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Back to searching.
Ethan deep in the tank checking out this preordained. It is a Thoughtseize and another frog. Ethan flipped them around and then kept one of them, and I'm not sure which one it was, but it looks like it was a frog.
Ooh, there is a Esper. Oh, okay. I found one. I found a
Okay.
list.
Frog number 3. 3 has entered. Silent clearing being used here by Ethan. So if you see the life total kind of slowly ticking down, that's to start ticking up the power of the Death Shadow through the use of this silent clearing.
I was trying to
Wow,
find.
it is a Charlotte off the top of Eva.
Let's go.
Okay, nice work. Nice
Caster
work.
blessed.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, I stressed, you blessed, and here we are. The rhinoceroses, but rhinos don't fly, as we just determined.
Right. Trying to think what would be the best. What kind of cards give flying?
You just discard a wonder to your psychic frog.
Ooh, I like that. That's good.
And that's sure.
That's so sick. Oh my gosh, please. That's great.
We got these Pantlaza tokens in here for these
Mhm.
rhinos. Okay. What are those? An art card alert? Wii U?
David, yes, I will shout out David. All of the tokens in his cube are vertical art cards that he has saved. And you just get to
Cool.
you get to pick what sort of vibe you feel for
Yeah.
your tokens.
Consider this deeper into the library.
Yeah.
Consider draws consider.
Consider draws consider putting a swamp into the grave.
And this Death Shadow now standing at a 4/4, able to fully rumble with these rhinos. Oh, but Ethan just drew Toxic Deluge, which is really cool because the life paying is a part of the cost, which will make the shadow bigger. That if we want to deluge 4/4 to clear up everything, your Death Shadow will be 4 points of power stronger,
Mm-hmm.
and it will survive the deluge.
David might actually get to this other crushing footfalls.
You think so?
I think so. I believe. What could go wrong? Tell me.
Well,
Tell me. Explain to me as a viewer how
So-
Ethan kills David.
if we cast this Toxic Deluge paying 4 life, it would clean up all of David's board. Our Death Shadow would remain a 4/4.
It
And if
kills
we're-
the frogs.
Yeah,
Oh, but
unless
the
we
shadow.
use some mana to keep one of them around. Interesting use of this Thoughtseize here. The cards are face up, and the dead is not enough actual, like,
Because he doesn't want him to bounce. Well, how much does it cost to bounce?
3.
Oh.
So
okay.
the 1 mana mode dead is deal 2 damage, but Ethan could have basically quote unquote countered that by discarding any card to the frogs, including that Thoughtseize itself, knowing that that hand was face up. We're discarding 3 cards to this frog, and here comes that deluge. Down to 6, deluge for 4, down to 2.
Down to 2.
And remember, this Death Shadow is 4 lower.
I'm trying to pull it up. Is it
Yeah.
deaths like apostrophe S?
Yes. So it
Okay.
is 11, but it's a -4, so it's gonna be able to attack for 7,
There we go. The math.
and that allows kind of that takeover there in that game. David is not gonna be drawing the right thing off the top, and Ethan they're taking down this game number 1 with Esper Shadow, basically off the back of a very well-timed Stubborn Denial on that first set of rhinos.
That was pretty crushing there. We'll take a look at that winner of game 1's example deck list. This did win a challenge
Whoa!
a little while back. Let me see exactly where from. It won a league on
All right. This,
the 17th.
this is Blue-Black Shadow cast Sun Cleanser.
There you go.
But cards that could be available would be cards like Sun Cleanser. No thank you against Rhinos. If there are any copies of this card consigned to memory, remember, on top of everything else that it does, it can counter a trigger, such as Cascade. So
I'm
this is a
going to
card
transition back real quick because
Yeah.
he does have damping spheres
that'll-
pulled to the front of his sideboard right now.
Yes.
So I just wanted
Yes.
to do that real quick.
So what's interesting about Damping Sphere is if what our player can do is wait until they have additional mana to be able to pay kind of that like +1 tax on those cards.
Yeah.
And you can see our player, as we had cut away to the screen, was kind of debating, kind of thinking about it. But if there are a card like Consigned to Memory, you're definitely going to want those. Funny enough, this example list here has Pest Control in the sideboard,
Ooh,
which would be a card that actually cleans up the Rhinos.
it does indeed.
And if there's any copies of a card like this Force Negation, you definitely want to bring those in for the same reason. The main card that you're fighting over is that Crashing Footfalls, and that allows you to have that fight.
Indeed. We'll take a look at David's deck list as well while players are still sideboarding here. This is his full
Whoa.
75. Thank you for submitting on our Discord, David.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to talk about main deck spice. You wanted to point out Questing Druid,
Mm-hmm.
a Questing Beast, sick. You did not mention 2 copies of Become Immense.
Oh, I did not notice
Holy
that.
Cow.
The questing beast was all the way at the
Yes.
bottom because it's alphabetical, so I saw it.
Become Immense is so cool in these decks because
What does the card do?
+6/+6 with Delve. So
Oh, interesting.
what this allows is this deck has not really had an outlet for using its graveyard well.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you want to find ways to utilize kind of that loose cardboard in any way that you possibly can. Having a Delve card, so we usually see Rhinos decks of old, back during the Rhino heyday, playing cards like Murktide, right? Finding a way to utilize the cards in your sideboard as an additional resource. This Become Immense allows you to do the same thing, but the Rhinos from Crashing Footfall have Trample.
Mm-hmm.
So this allows you to rumble in with your 4/4s and then just, sneak a +6/+6 onto your trampling creature. So I had David's sideboard here looking at cards like Bone Crusher Giant, Endurance, Subtlety, Inevitable Betrayal, Brotherhood's End, Mystical Disputes, Wear Tears, and Gemstone Caverns. David will be on the play, so do not touch the caverns.
Mm-hmm.
Wear Tear, we did not see any targets. Dispute, not really. Brotherhood's End is kind of risky because it feels like it can clean up creatures, but those shadows start getting really big. The frogs get really big. We're probably looking at these copies of Endurance, cleaning up that graveyard so that frog can't gain flying. We can win the ground as the Rhinos deck, so you just need to make sure that those frogs have the ability to gain flying.
Endurance has reach, right?
Yes, but it also exiles the graveyard, so there's nothing for the frog to eat to gain flying.
Sure, but if he does manage to refill,
Endurance got reach.
It's a nice keyword there as well.
And David may want more copies of these subtleties. At the end of the day, David is fighting over their opponent's creatures, so that allows a good spot to try to have a card like Subtlety.
All right, we'll head back down to the action here. David should be on the play as he lost game 1. And we'll see how things stack up in game 2 here. If you're enjoying the content at home or wherever you're watching, make sure to hit that follow button. We're live every Wednesday at 6:30 with, hopefully you think so, great modern coverage. And we're also live on Thursdays with Pokemon coverage as well. We've got a fantastic commentary team over there as well, very knowledgeable. They're also streaming or posting YouTube videos as well. So doing some more content on the Pokemon side of things too.
Remember, an important part after seeing David's list here is a 4-color Rhinos deck, but that is because the push to move to playing Ardent Plea already makes the deck want to add white mana and white mana sources. Then David added Leyline Binding, so has a domain mana base, but is not playing Leyline of Gale Pack or Sign of Draco.
Right.
So playing kind of a more the tempo-oriented that Rhinos was to begin with, but using that white splash to get the powerful removal spell and Leyline Binding alongside that Ardent Plea.
All right, first spell of the game will be a Thoughtseize, seeing David's full hand here of Land, Shardless Agent, Mystical Dispute, Ardent Plea, Endurance, and Sink into Stupor, so he did bring in that Endurance.
And brought in these disputes.
And Disputes, yes.
But they had Ethan quickly reading this Endurance here. I think taking the Shardless Agent, so taking one of the 2 routes to Rhinos.
One that gives you a body,
Yeah.
a third body.
Yeah, the 10 power worth of Rhinos as
Ooh.
opposed to the 8 power from the Plea.
David draws that very important third land as draw for turn. We'll just play the Flooded Strain and pass.
David sneakily already had 3 lands.
Oh, true. That's a very good point. Yes,
But,
the Sink into Stupor.
Allows to keep Sink into Stupor as an actual spell. Here's
It's
the
a
second.
Thoughtseizable land.
Yeah. Here's the second Thoughtseize from Ethan, which is most likely taking that Ardent Plea. I did, in fact, win a game of an Energy Series event against an opponent who kept a 1-lander, but the 1 land was Sink into Stupor, and I Thoughtseized on the play, looked at their hand, and went, huh, and took that Sink into Stupor.
I lost a Pioneer game when I was still playing Amaria's Call.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do not play that card anymore. As Adam told me, sure, bolt yourself in the face.
Much appreciated, especially as this format is so aggressive right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But speaking of this aggression, Ethan using these Thoughtseizes alongside Fetch Shock at 10 life on turn 2, landing this 3/3 Death Shadow.
Sheesh.
Not messing around.
David will get his second land here.
Yeah, most likely either a breeding pool or a Zagoth Triumph, and it's Zagoth Triumph, full complete domain, alongside this Sacred Foundry.
The thing about Rhinos is that they don't really have too much action outside of those split cards
Right.
on turns 1 and 2. So David forced to kind of just let Ethan do his thing for a couple of turns before he is able to fight back.
Yeah, paying that Rhinos tax and making sure that your Cascade engine works.
Getting his Triumph.
The windswept teeth. Now David does have the opportunity to play the Endurance, but if Ethan has any way at all to deal damage to himself, this Death Shadow becomes a 4/4. It will be unreachable by the Endurance blocking, and we might be forced to sink into Stupor a 1-drop from our opponent.
I think, yeah.
Third
and
Thoughtseize.
third Thoughtseize bring Ethan down to 8. If it does resolve, I guess you can Mystical Dispute it. He does have, or he doesn't have the mana, excuse me.
Oh, right.
Because I believe it looks like he missed a land drop. No,
Nope.
he's just on turn 3. He's just, I forget. Death Shadow sort of skews with my perception of where we are in the game.
Yeah, so this dispute could trade for the Thoughtseize, but also that means whatever Ethan's trying to protect with this Thoughtseize is going to resolve.
I feel like any deck is hard pressed to win through 3 Thoughtseizes.
Yep. Uh-huh.
That seems really devastating.
Because opponents' decks usually have cards in them, and this allows you to take the cards away from them.
David capped a full 7, I believe, as well.
Yeah, it just hasn't felt that way because so much got taken away from them.
He will opt to sink into Stupor the Death Shadow so he doesn't lose any more life. Down to 16 off the Fetch Shock. Ethan at 8 from the Thoughtseize. And he'll pass back after the Thoughtseize. Put that into the bin. Thank you. Cleaned up board state. Oh, never mind. He will play.
The
Yeah.
Shadow returns. Yeah.
I was about to say you should probably play that again.
Yeah, use the mana efficiency available to you.
Like you said, it is a 1-drop, so very
Yeah.
easy to replay. Not the thing I think David's looking to do, but you do want to make use of it.
You dooby-dooby-doo. Stomping Ground, David debating here because with the way this mana draw has happened, David doesn't actually have the 2 green to cast this Endurance. So David's debating having a self-shock just to have access to a card that we know is just going to be a trade.
Ooh.
And I'm just playing it out tapped.
I'm very curious what this... I feel like playing that Stomping Grounds tapped signals to me that, oh, it's just a Lorien revealed. Oh, interesting.
Whoa.
Okay. I was not predicting that based on... I guess he really values his life total at this point.
Or, in about a moment from now, I'm going to run out there about this uncastable Endurance. Only time will tell.
I don't think he thinks he has 2 green mana.
Yeah. But it's interesting to see what's a happening.
Oh, wait, this one doesn't have flash, right?
Oh, it does. Oh,
It does have flash? I can never remember which of...
There are 3 remaining, and they all have flash.
Oh, all the non-banned ones?
Yeah, all the non-banned ones have flash.
Totally, yeah.
This
That
Death
tracks.
Shadow coming in for this big hit, taking 6 off of David's life total.
Adam thinks he's just sitting on the Lorien to draw 3.
I mean, a non-zero chance, right?
I think that's how you get back after 3 Thoughtseizes, right?
Yeah, is to get those 3 cards back. But now David having a second turn of no action with the mana.
Looks like he missed his land drop. Ethan will be, considering on his end step. Back to Ethan's turn. 4 cards in hand. I can't quite see. My preview screen's a little smaller than yours.
Yeah, Ethan's got a Giver of Runes as the card drawn for turn, as well as this Flooded Strand here. But this Strand does allow Ethan to do 3 damage to himself, and this Silent Clearing could allow Ethan to do a 4th point of damage, which would put this to be a 10/10 shadow, which would force the block from David.
I really want to see David just run out a Questing Beast for lethal. I really want that to be a line.
Yeah, that's the part that we need to be careful about here. And we see David flashing this out to hopefully block this shadow, understanding at least that this Fetch Shock could equal a large shadow.
Yeah, Death Shadow doesn't have trample, at the least.
No, but Ethan is in fact Fetch Shocking here. The question is it to have a piece of interaction for this Endurance before it is allowed to block?
Trying to figure out, because the
Yep.
Esper list we looked at was pretty different from what Ethan's running.
This is a push, and then that
Oh.
giant Death Shadow gets in there for 10 points of damage. Ethan taking it down 2-0 on this
Sheesh.
Esper Shadow list, taking down Rhinos, a deck that I was excited when someone said it was out in the field that we had to see it. Just a moment of getting beat up by this Esper Shadow deck, though.
I feel like David was pretty close to turning the corner there. Three thought seizes. That's gonna wreck any deck, no matter how competitive. Great gameplay from both of our players there. We're going to switch over to our backup match. Because of those technical delays, we do have to move them physically over.
I can physically move them if you want to chat about the schedule.
Yes, good call. Let me pull that up. There we go. All right, folks, this needs updating once more. We keep adding more games to our schedule. We love helping out the community. Not helping out the community, but responding to the community's desires. And people want more Bandai games, so we're adding Union Arena on Wednesdays. There's a bunch of other games and ways that you can play games at our store. Monday is Commander and Digimon. Commander's free to play. We give out promo packs, and you play whatever power level you like. We've got precons to CEDH in the building on Mondays and Thursdays. Join us for that. We got One Piece League on Tuesday. We just started Season 6 of that, giving out more than $1,000 in store credit every league for that, so join us there. Lorcana as well. We have our set champs on October 12th. You can win expensive Mirabelle champion playmats and promos there. Wednesday, of course, is Modern with Union Arena following behind next Wednesday. Thursday is more Commander, Pokemon Stream as well. Friday is Boomer, Zoomer, F&M. They finished?
Almost everyone's done already.
Oh, well, we'll get more Magic in a second then if everyone's finishing up. Boomer, Zoomer, F&M on Friday with Legacy and Standard. We've got lots of good gameplay there. All official Magic cards required for both those formats. If you're looking for some dual lands or reserve list cards to borrow for Legacy, hit up our Discord. We've got lots of very generous and welcoming players there, helping to grow our Legacy community, as well as One Piece on Friday as well. And then Saturday rounds out our schedule with Digimon League. We've got our circuit going on right now. I think there's 5 or 6 qualified currently for that big event. More details about that on our Facebook page and our Discord. Speaking about our Discord, that's how you access it.
Boom.
There's the Linktree QR code. That gets you to the Energy series, but it also links to the store as well. We do have a Discord server for both of those. And if you're feeling very generous, we're like 1 or 2 Nitro boosts away from the store getting our custom invite code back. So that'd be super appreciated. We got lots of fun emotes, including one of Dom. So if you join
there is one of me, that's right.
Yeah. If you've got Nitro, you can use that in any of the servers that you're in. And you can fire finger guns at anybody. That being said, we're going to head into a quick break. We'll be back with round 3.
See y'all soon. Bye.
Welcome back, folks. We're in round 3 of Wednesday Night Modern here at Nerd Rage Gaming. We got our Season 1 champion, George Jabor, sitting at 2-0 in our main feature spot alongside Matt Stewart, who is a little bit newer to the Modern League, but hoping to win some games. He's 2-0 as well tonight.
Tron.
Playing some Tron, baby. I've been losing to Tron forever. We'll see if George does too.
If you want to let them know to get that A-OK.
Totally. I'll go ahead.
And if you're looking down and you're like, something seems a little off about this playmat, there is a single mat that is allowed on stream over our overlay, and that is the Nerd Rage Gaming Championship mat. So you can see George here at the Modern League Championship playmat. Very, very importantly, Matt may not know who George is. A lot of our locals will know George. But George quite literally wore his deck on his hoodie today. If you've seen this, I believe it's Remy MTG, the Supreme Verdict hoodie.
It's so good. I need one.
Yeah, it's very good, very funny. As Matt here is revealing Devourer of Destinies to get this game started before George starts George's turn, or turn number 1 completed by George here. This fetch, my apologies. Matt had to reveal it on George's turn, but now resolving it on his turn. But an important thing I want to point out about George's deck is we are not playing the Jeskai energy-based control deck. George is playing Jeskai control kind of classic. The MH3 cards being used are Tameo and Flage, but then you're going to see a lot of the old players, old standby from Jeskai control pre-MH3. So as opposed to having the energy shell, it is the classic control shell, but Flage is the big finisher, and Tameo in kind of that 1-drop blue value slot over things like a Preordain.
Indeed. We got a lot of other energy-based decks, and George has tried energy before.
Yeah, I think
Obviously,
he hates
Wrath
it.
of this guy. Yeah, well,
and
it's rough when you're losing a lot, and I think that build wasn't performing as well, right? George has been doing a lot of testing over on his stream. Check him out on Twitch, Jabber.
And what's going on is the Low Flex Lock Cabal are big fans of Jeskai control. A lot of chattering about Jeskai as Matt's going for a turn 2 Karn. But we have a Force of Vigor, or Force of Negation pitching Verdict, which is really good for George because his Verdict is hard to use, but good to pitch. But the whole point of this Jeskai deck leaning away from the energy package and into the classic package is to max out on these cards like Supreme Verdict because of how good they are against Frogtide. So because that deck kind of gains its advantage by putting a Murktide, a Bowmaster, a Frog into play, and then maybe holding up like a Spell Pierce or a Force, these Supreme Verdicts are a guaranteed push that Wrath through to allow them to make up that mid game to get to the late game where control really takes over.
Indeed, Brickman. Someone did say Jeskai Cabal. We got a lot of Flex Live.
There's so many of them. There's literally 7 of them in there.
Yes, this is, I would say, the home base of the Flex Slot crew.
Yeah.
There are some that live a little bit further away, but
we started as more of a local squad,
right?
And now expanding to some of the energy hard hitters.
Yeah, added a few new players in the past month.
Karn.
Second Karn, that one gets a big ol' thumbs up from George. Matt digs into the sideboard. We'll see what he goes for.
I wonder if it's kind of like an early value, like Pithing Needle for the backside of Tameo.
Ooh, interesting.
A Tormod's Crypt to get ahead of the Flagening.
Yeah, you had to add some non-control players to the roster there, Brickman.
What really helps is they gave me some combo players to talk to.
There you go, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now you just need someone for Adam to game with.
Yeah, Adam's got a,
We need another aggro player.
Matt here grabbing the liquid metal coating. So this is very important that if this Karn survives, and I say if as this Flage takes it down, this is why I'm really not the biggest fan of grabbing coating off the Karn to begin with, because if you lose that Karn, you can lose the advantage of the coating.
Right, coating doesn't do too much without the Karn.
Yeah, it's just going to make something an artifact.
I guess if you have a third Karn.
Yes. The last time when I was playing Tron, I was playing it without the coatings just because of moments like this. It takes a couple of turns to get kind of that combo set up. This Thought Not Seer here revealing George's hand of just Minamo. So George's hand really reliant on getting this Flage out of the yard and using this Tameo to start generating advantage.
Yeah, what are these tokens he's got on the
Clues.
field? Oh, clues, for sure.
These are the Tameo clues.
Got it. Thank you.
George not interested here in double cracking clues to flip the Tameo, which is making me believe whatever the one card we drew is an actual piece of interaction here.
Right. Deck's full of interaction.
Yes.
So, He's drawn several lands, as is his way sometimes.
Yes. But a power of Jeskai control is making sure you hit all these land drops so you can continue
Ooh.
to answer what's happening. Here's a Kozilek's command, new K command. This card is incredible. If there's any doubters out there, just play against it a couple of times and watch how quickly it digs through a deck, creates Eldrazi Scions, and suddenly starts slamming Emrakul's. But George's draw was Counterspell. Actual, factual, great piece of interaction. And here comes that Thought-Knot Seer rumbling in there for 4 points of damage down to 17 for George DeBoer. Cracking one of these clues. And this is why I indicated Tameo kind of a value piece that slowly generates these clues, giving use for the mana that start drawing cards. If Tameo ever flips, it might just be a regrowth, but also many times I've seen the control players take that Tameo all the way up and suddenly draw half their deck.
I'm trying to see what else Matt's got in his hand here. Of course, Tron's got lots of big bombs they can just kind of toss on the table once a control player runs out of interaction or counter spells. George will go for his own bomb, though, in an escaped Flage.
Matt still sitting on the Devourer of Destinies revealed from turn 1. Or that's tucked under the Ugin's Labyrinth. So we actually drew another one as I've been spotting it in a Cityscape Leveler. I heard Matt chatting with some players out there in the field casually between games. Been on Tron for a little bit of while and kind of getting used to the new ways that Tron's playing, missing cards like Wormcoil Engine, some of like the mid-game threats, and being more of an Eldrazi-based deck. But Cityscape Leveler still here to play for Matt.
Yeah, Tron's gone through so many iterations over the years. Like I said, I've been losing to Tron for years.
Oh, yeah.
Tron was around when I first started Modern, still around today. Looks different. It's obviously been updated as most of the decks in Modern when MH3 came out. Got some new tools like we're seeing Ugin's Labyrinth, Kozilek's Command, and the like.
Tron is responsible for my first win on Camera Age on the Nerd Rage Gaming series.
Ooh, that's a good piece of trivia.
Right when I got the win on camera last round, 10th on Breakers. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta love it. You gotta. Actually, George and I have played against each other on camera. He was playing this control deck. I was playing Tron. We have been here a time before, but Tron has these new tools like this Kozilek's command that we're resolving 2 Scions and keeping a card on top. So you can see George making that face. Not sure what Matt's keeping, but Matt liking something, and it looks like a second Ugin's Labyrinth.
Okay, pretty good.
Pitching
Lots of mana.
the world anew.
Yeah, I gotta remember all those like after the common names. I'm so bad at knowing with legendary creatures, and now that they have like multiple different printings, you know, there's multiple Emrakul's, multiple Kozilek's, etc.
Some people will shorten it. Like we learned this skill with the walkers, being like, oh, that's Elspeth 6, Elspeth 5, Elspeth 4.
3 fairy.
Yeah, 3 fairy, right? But I believe there are 2 Emrakul's that cost 13, so it suddenly defeats the purpose.
It's the Eldritch Moon Emrakul.
Well, the other one is also an Eldritch Moon Emrakul.
There's Promise End.
And then World Anew is the story of Eldritch Moon.
Well,
so,
I mean, like
right?
the what set it's from.
Here's the Leyline Binding cast for 2 mana. You saw George fetch up this Rafine's Tower. Might be playing under the assumption that a Binding for 2 is still an incredible piece of removal. Flage coming in here. Tameo making another clue. The life total for the control player going up and up and up.
I cannot read it. Can you let me know what that is?
Great question.
It's a little glary.
I can never read the companion app.
I know.
Please change it back.
I'm gonna have them move it to the other side and see if that's better.
Sure. George here kind of in these final moments, cracking these clues, flipping this Tameo. This is going to allow George to have access to the slight power decreasing for Matt. And now what we have is this Tameo flipped over, plussed up, 2 clues, a Flage, binding on this Thought-Knot Seer. George doing a little bit of finger tapping, being very wary of just how much mana Matt is going to have on Matt's next turn.
Oh, it's not helpful. I can't see it on this side either.
A part of this goes like
12 or 22 for George.
George's at 22.
22. Okay, we got a Matt stand in chat as well over on YouTube. Hello, Andrew. He says, Matt's a natural. Reminds me a lot of Saffron Olive.
Okay.
All right, all right.
Prove it.
I don't know too much about Saffron. Is it in the looks or the gameplay?
Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, a.k.a. MTG Goldfish.
Oh, is he actually, like, did he spearhead, like, the creation of Goldfish?
He's the Goldfish guy, yeah.
He's the Goldfish guy? Oh, sick.
He's the one doing all the brews and all that kind of stuff.
Right on.
So maybe Matt's a brewer, and I love a brewer.
You love Love a brewer. Magic
Love a
wouldn't
brew.
exist without him.
Love a brew. Love a brew.
Thank you, Brickman, for the live total update. I'm doing my best here. I'm not used to juggling the commentary and the production.
Yeah, it's just hard because physically cannot see it.
I know, yeah.
And here's another ley line behind this. Answers
Ooh,
the
the
Cityscape
Cityscape.
Leveler.
Cityscape is so good, dude.
Is big.
I hate that card. If I played it, I would think I would love it, though. You know, it's like one of those.
Yeah, it's a big one. I love a cast trigger. Really helps in these Jeskai
Love a
matchups.
cast trigger.
Yeah.
I'm sure George will have
George
something
hates
to
them.
say about that.
George probably
with
has
his sideboard.
4 consigned memories, if I had to guess, is the place we'll start, and probably up to 4 Obsidian Charmaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
We'll
might be bullying Matt a little in games 2 and 3.
We'll see if Matt can take him down in game 1 here.
Yeah,
George
a plate
has
has
a
been
pretty-
answered, so
Yeah, George has a lot of cards still in hand.
yeah, this is
Just
kind
a
of the
pile
flow
of ley
fuel.
lines there as well.
Yep. This Tameo on 4, gonna be pumping up just a little bit here, up to 6. We continue to slightly decrease the power of Matt's creatures, but Matt's creatures a little bit bigger than the effect of a Tameo Plus.
A little bit, yeah.
The One Ring drawn for Matt.
Ooh, that's a great card. Both our players are probably playing 4 copies apiece.
Yeah. Back George playing 4 copies main, Matt probably 3 main, 1 board.
Right,
'Cause
yeah.
you gotta carn it up, baby.
You gotta. He's playing 7 copies of the ring
That's
main.
right.
There you go.
But, you know, that card, instrumental kind of backbone of both of these strategies. Matt using the Ugin's Labyrinth ability, putting the Devourer of Destinies back in hand, and now hard casting it, exiling a card with 1 or more color. Happens to be that flipped Tameo.
Mm-hmm.
And now George losing a lot of the value pieces in play in this 6/6 resolving
Ooh.
and getting solituded.
All right, so Matt will go up in life a little bit there, evening it out 22 to 14 by my math.
Yeah, but now this gives George a threat once again, which was the part that George was missing. But Matt with a deck full of haymakers, just slam jammers.
I was gonna say, I don't think what's Solitude, a 3/2?
3/2 lifelinker.
Yeah, I don't think that's too scary for Matt.
No, it's still like a 5-turn clock. And
Right.
the question is, will George even have 5 turns for something even bigger and badder starts showing up?
We'll continue to gain life above 22 or above 20.
Oh, yeah. Solitude continuing
Flage
to
will
rise.
do that. Solitude will do that to you.
Yeah, and the Flage is lingering if George can get a couple more spells cast, get cards into the yard.
Ooh.
But here's a 5 mana again for
Oh,
Hardcast
draw
Lorien.
3.
We were trying to get this on camera last round. George giving it to us this round. Get that draw 3 going. And holding up conspicuously, exactly, blue. But tapping those
Oh, okay. Gonna tap out. He does have a Power Stone available. We'll
Oh,
take a Prismatic ending to take out the
on the Mind
Mind
Stone.
Stone.
Yeah, because Matt had to kind of crack the Ugin's Labyrinth to put the Devour into hand. And so Matt had exactly kind of 7 mana to work with.
Mhm.
By taking this Mind Stone, it cranks Matt back to having 6 mana to work with. And the threats kind of begin at 7, that Tron style strategy.
Only need 4 for a 1 ring, though.
Yeah.
A great cast.
Oh,
George will
Oh.
respond by cracking the clue.
finding a use for the Power Stone because it's
Mhm.
mana that you can use to activate the ability of the clue.
He could activate no, does Minimo have a it's blue to activate Minimo?
Yeah, it is blue to activate. Good.
Never mind.
But good thought, right? Of finding spots to utilize these Power Stones to Fable.
It could activate a Gaia Reach Sanitarium if George I know George
Ooh.
likes that card.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the Queen's not in the deck today, but
No, not quite. Narset taking a little nap.
Narset taking a nap. Big mana here. 2, 3, 4.
Oh, I was about to say he's
Yeah.
got his own.
Yeah, you kind of know the 4 mana is either rings or verdicts right now, and
Whoa, George is so excited. He actually has an artifact.
an artifact,
There
yeah.
you go. Easy peasy. Thank you, Cityscape Leveler.
yeah, George is usually very animated here at Weekly, just having a great time. You can see it out there. Now using the Manama, untapping the ring, drawing 2 more.
It's good to see George enjoy Modern.
It's because
I
because
know-
his thing is the thing.
I know that there was a time where a lot of people didn't enjoy Modern, and I think that Watsy's done a good job bringing people back into the format in
Yep.
multiple different ways. I think MH3 was a big boon. I think the bans also a big boon. Having to deal with some MH3 cards, but
Yeah, and here's Flage, one from the hand, but slowly building up enough fuel to bring back one of these escaped copies if need be. Remember, Matt's got protection from the ring, so not getting attacked down by the Solitude just yet. George going to deal Matt damage, but realizing Matt didn't even activate the ring, so no damage to be done.
You got
Big
no
rip.
bird encounter.
Tron land number 2, Urza's Tower to go alongside that Urza's Mine that we've had for a while here.
Kozilek's Command. I can never remember the modes on this card.
Okay, so you have
I think
Scry X, draw a card, exile X cards from your graveyard, make X Scions, or exile something CMC X or less.
Wonderful, thank you. I love that it's got the pre-release promo for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay, Scryfall.
Okay, Scryfall?
Scryfall, if you're listening, can you please have the art cards from Duskmorn? I've been begging you. I send a freaking I send a support ticket every set because they add everything else except my art cards, and I just please.
Kozilek's Command. The hard part about modal spells, while players are trying to put them on the stack, but it looks like Matt trying to exile the graveyard is one of the 2 modes here for this K command. Start controlling the Flage.
Yeah, get that Flage out of here. Seems strong.
It might be exile Yard, exile Solitude. Or exile Yard and dig a little deeper. A lot of finger waving, I think, saying we're activating this for 2.
I thought it was 3. Was it 2?
It looks
so
like
it gets both
looks like X
flashes?
equals 3 is being tapped.
Oh, there we go.
So targets are Flage pending, and then make 3 Scions. Make 3 Scions.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you got to generate the mana somehow. George has chipped away at it a little bit. Still got this Emrakul under the lab.
And Matt has an Emrakul in hand as well.
Oh,
so,
sure.
But what's great about this, and the Liquimello coating we've been sitting on since grabbing it with the Karn. But what's been happening with this Kozilek's Command is it allows these like Tron-style strategies to use one of the modes to interact with something, and then bank the mana in the form of creating the Scions to create an even bigger burst of mana the following turns.
Sorry, I was responding to Brickman. He asks if I type out a ticket every set or if I have a copy paste.
George here finding the 3rd copy of Flage from hand. Matt did all that hard work to deal with the other 2 copies.
I'm curious. I feel like I know your life total's low on Matt's side. This ring, so good. You got to use it.
You got to draw them cards.
Got to draw them cards.
Got to get in there.
Especially against a control player who already has card advantage on you. You want to be able to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, especially because your threats are so big, beefy, and have cast triggers. Those are kind of things that help you sometimes push through. Matt.
What happened?
So the Flage that George cast targeted one of the Eldrazi spawns. You can sacrifice the Eldrazi spawn in response to counter the trigger so that George doesn't gain any of that life. His life total is so astronomical, but good habits are good habits.
Indeed.
I think a part of the reason Matt wasn't activating this ring was fear of binding, but that gave George enough time to find a binding for Matt to be afraid of, and this ring draws 0 cards.
Tragic. 3 bindings cast for George this game.
Yeah, on the One Ring, Thought Not Seer, and Cityscape Leveler.
Yeah. Big
and now here's another Mind Stone. Being spell snared, George probably very happy to finally cash this card in on something.
I doubt you have too many 2-mana spells in a Tron deck.
Especially because filling out so much with like Sowing Myco Spawns or Kozilek's Commands, the like cards that bridge the game for you aren't like 2-mana cards like Sylvan Scrying anymore.
I'm really trying hard with these life totals here, folks. I'm doing my best to approximate this glare here.
Yeah,
Apologies.
we'll check. We'll fix them between games once again, but
yeah,
here we're just tagging along. George with these 2 Solitudes, though the game may not go on for much longer.
Seems pretty determined, but of course control players do.
It's done now.
Oh, there we go.
Because here's Flage. That's going to be able to deal the 3 upstairs, and then these 2 Solitudes if life totals are correct. Even Solitude remove the final blocker. And this is a part that I want to highlight for you aspiring Karn gamers out there. Matt picked up this coding off a turn 3 Karn, and it sat in hand the whole game.
Yeah.
Could have been follow-up copies of Cityscape Leveler. There's a lot of pieces of interaction that it could have been. I think sometimes that coding can be a trap because it feels like a card that's going to gain you some sort of benefit. But if you lose that Karn, you're just going to sit on it.
Also, shout out to Matt here as well. Heads up, do not add the liquid metal coating back into your deck.
Snap that back onto the table. Much appreciated.
Good stuff there. We'll take a look at Game 1 winning deck list there. George is first. Here's his full 75. Thank you for submitting in our Discord. George, what you working with, bud?
So we've got 2 Draenus Magistrates here for George. Not a card for this matchup. But it is time for these next 8 cards. Count it: 4 Obsidian Charmaw and 4 Consigned to Memory. These are alongside 3 Pyroclasms and 2 Soul Guide Lanterns. Not cards for these matchups. The Pyroclasms are for dealing with energy. The Draenus are for Storm and Cascade style strats. And Soul Guide Lanterns for Graveyard decks and the Mirrors. But these big 8 cards, these are the ones Jeskai has a lot of trouble with. These big mana decks. These 4 Consigns and these 4 Charmaws are ready to make it a bad day for the opponent. We're talking about probably taking out some amount of these prismatic endings, cutting these spell snares, maybe cutting a verdict. There's definitely going to be space to find those 8 slots. You might even want to cut a Tamio or 2 because the Karn says you can't activate the clues. So you don't want to get stuck in a situation where your O3 flyer is doing actual factual nothing. But I'm sure George has a plan, probably using a little flexlot.gg, getting it all set up, figuring out these 8 in and a perfect 8 out.
Yeah, hashtag kind of sponsored. Use flexlot.gg for all your sideboarding needs. Great for planning out sideboards. Very nice principle piece of paper for you to bring to your matches so that you don't have to pull out your phone, which is not allowed. And
it warms my heart seeing them at RCQs.
Absolutely. I've used them before. It's very helpful. Saves you a lot of brain power when you're playing long events like an NRG. It's also great for looking at articles. Lots of articles being written on that site. Check them out. There's primers as well, sideboard guides, all sorts of good stuff. We'll take a look at a Tron list here as well. This is one pulled off of Goldfish.
So the main thing that I think is going to be very different between this list and the list that we're seeing for our player out there is it looks like there might be on a kind of straight colorless Tron style besides having these green cards. I did not see any copies of Sowing Mycospawn in that game or World Breaker, and we did not see these main deck Chalice of the Voids, but the Chalices are kind of a recent innovation of trying to get these back into the main decks of these colorless style strategies. And we see talismans here from this Eldrazi player. That's typically if you need to get access to green mana through your colorless mana. But we saw Mind Stones out there in the field from the player who doesn't need access to green mana, so having with a little additional attacks. Remember, a lot of the sideboard in these matchups is going to be a Karn board. So you're looking at a lot of one-ofs, things like Walking Ballista, Seascape Leveler, Engineer Explosives, Tormod's Crypt, Disruptor Flute, Liquid Metal Coating, Ensnaring Bridge, Trinisphere, and the One Rings. And then cards that are typically sometimes brought in are some number of copies of these Haywire Mites, but that typically would be seen in the green style strategy, so we may not see them out of the player today. And then this version here is 4 copies of Stonebrain in the sideboard. I know this was kind of Tron's way in the early days of beating up on Nadu. You could use Stonebrain, name Nadu, and then use all his dust and clean up literally everything after that. It'll be interesting to see if Stonebrain is still kind of a weapon that people continue to go to, of just understanding where the bad matchups are and being able to bring this in and put a giant Band-Aid on those matches. I mean, if you bring in Stonebrain and you name Flage against this control deck, that's going to lose a lot of energy.
I was going to say, well, not energy because he's not playing
energy. Yeah, a lot of power.
Control list, obviously, a little light on combat relevant cards. So Flage seems like a huge rip if you're exiling that or
do you want to run real quick and get this phone like an inch more into the center?
Totally, yeah.
We're gonna try to play along. Matt here also playing Expedition Map, a card that kind of is and isn't seeing play depending on how the Tron players feel about the importance of assembling Tron for their games. But we're gonna also see here with this Ugin's Labyrinth that this is a non-exiled Ugin's Labyrinth here, unlocking this Expedition Map. And again, kind of utilizing the importance of generating and creating Tron as a whole, but George at least keeping in some number of these prismatic endings, using it to answer the map. And we're going to quickly learn how important the map may have been to Matt's draw here.
Ooh, Urza's Saga. That'll find you another map.
Yeah, just a few turns from now.
Construct tokens probably the more relevant part of the Urza Saga.
Yeah, I wonder alongside this, there's an Ugin's Labs with a Emrakul the World Anew. But the question will be, Matt may end up on the Saga plan.
We'll opt to just on his own turn make that Construct token.
Just get him out there.
What's that token? It looks like a copy token?
It is, in fact, a Construct.
Oh, it is a Construct.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's not one of the recent Commander decks that this sick art for Constructs.
It looks like, oh, goodness.
It's basically Iron Man, just all glowed up.
Yo, should we talk about that?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
There were some...
No. We can... No.
All right.
We can't talk about
We
leaks.
know Marvel's coming. It is coming at some point, so
Yeah, but
we
I
will see.
actually read the leaks and the cards are dope.
I did not read them. I just looked at the art to see if they were cool.
They are cool.
I don't like reading text boxes before I play with cards.
Oh, well.
Just I like to leave,
They're
as
dope.
as Richard Garfield intended, you should play pre-release in the blind
Oh,
and sort of
yes.
experience it. And
That's very, very fun.
yeah, I wonder how Marvel will work if it's got if it's draftable or not.
I believe it'll basically be MH4.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
It should be next summer. Should be modern legal. Should have a full.
Oh, it's the summer
Yeah.
set. I see. Yeah, the Universe Beyond set. That makes sense. That's what Assassin's Creed was. So straight to modern. Cool.
But I think larger than the Assassin's Creed. But don't quote me. There's so much information out there to miss.
Underworld Cookbook?
Yes.
Is that right?
So this is to go alongside the Emrakul World Anew because it has Madness. So they have a one-of cookbook to be found off the sagas. So you can take this Emrakul from costing 13 to costing 6.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, because the Madness cost is 6 colorless. Like colorless. But here's this leyline binding trying to take down the cookbook.
The cookbook.
The cookbook.
A chatter actually shout out Tortured Soul construct token from Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
Yes,
Big score.
Big score. Yeah, that's why they made this sick construct token.
There
Thank
you go.
Yeah, I remember I picked these up before my teammate made an NRG series token, and I no longer need the cool ones made by Watsy.
Yeah, shout out to Inkling Customs. If you win an Energy
Oh.
Showdown, you get to be your very own token, chat. What would you want your token to be? I, of course, always pick Angel or Merfolk. Merfolk's taken now, though.
Yes, here's the one ring for George with a trigger on the stack, and that's what I would pick. I think I would pick trigger.
You would pick Trigger?
Yeah. Because I love just doing convoluted.
Or just like a reminder card?
Yeah.
Where are the Energy Series constructs? I don't know, dude. You're the one that should know. I'll work at the store, bro.
Hey, they're moving, all right? It's in here somewhere. Leave them alone as Karn, the great creator, comes slammed down into play for Matt.
Yo, nice one ring.
Yeah, very importantly
nice
shutting down the one ring.
damage every turn.
Man, if Matt was 1 mana further along, Matt could have grabbed this Trinisphere.
Oh, boy.
But
It's exciting.
also, fun fact, I want to make sure people always know this. Karn says a card from exile or outside the game. The card currently under the leyline binding is in exile, and you can snatch that card out of there.
We've seen players take that line before as Matt
It's the
plays a
best
Disruptor
feeling.
Flute here.
We do not know what is being disrupted, but I'm going to assume this ring.
Let's see.
But it's an interesting choice to name the ring because Matt also plays copies of the ring.
Right,
Which will
it's
make
symmetrical.
Very symmetrical. But here's a leyline binding. This is for the Karn, which
Makes sense.
possibly is unlocking the ring depending on what the flute is a tootin'.
Let me go see.
Yeah, and
Hold it down.
it looks like it may be the ring as Georgia not activated with kind of an available moment there. All right, yeah, confirmations. You see all the folks there pointing down at that copy of the One Ring. Matt here using this Urza Saga, making another construct. And we're going to find out if their remaining 1-drops might be additional copies of Expedition Map, if I had to take a guess.
Yeah, our example deck list is a little bit different than what Matt's working with here.
Yeah, Matt is rocking a lot of cards of classic Tron, supplementing them with this Devourer of Destinies, Ugin's Labyrinth kind of little mana package, but still
does
rocking
have
a lot of the having cards like Saga, Expedition Maps, relying heavily on Karn packages. We saw Seascape Leveler. So Matt adjusting some of the cards and kind of having a bridge between pre-MH3 Tron and this post-MH3 Tron.
Oh, excuse me, folks. Let me update life totals here.
And, as we're calling this deck Tron, there are 0 Tron lands in play, just 3 Ugin's Labyrinth, just really creating that mana advantage for Matt.
I wonder what other deck would play it besides a Tron list, though.
Play the
Ugin lands.
That's a great question. Affinity.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because they have all the thought monitors and stuff they can tuck
Yeah,
away.
we got Kappa Cannoneer in Modern. I
Kappa.
haven't seen a single. I don't think we've ever had Kappa Cannoneer on camera.
We did last week. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
A quick game
That's
here being
hysterical.
taken down by exactly what Haviva kind of guessed at the early parts of this game. The Urza Saga constructs alone almost soloing George here in this matchup. And very importantly, we're talking about George playing kind of more of a classic Jeskai deck. No Wrath of the Skies, instead leaning on Supreme Verdict. Wrath of the Skies incredible against Urza Saga,
Oh
but
yeah.
also it's really hard as George to thread the needle between answering an aggressive onslaught like that from Urza Sagas
Hmm.
and also being prepared for giant Emrakuls and other monsters. Like there is an in between available, and we see George kind of swapping a few cards here, and we can imagine that 8 card man denial package is in here. But the question is, are there any slight changes being made? Maybe keeping some more verdicts now that we've seen the aggression of the Urza Saga plan.
I mean, yeah, verdicts are still not bad in this matchup.
No, you just one for one with a giant monster.
Yeah, or you clean up the constructs.
Or maybe like a Thoughtseize and a big monster, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I feel fine with
It's
this.
just that Wrath of the Skies cleans up like an Urza Saga or the other non-creature based artifacts that Matt could play.
Yeah, I can imagine this matchup. George is still happy to have Verdict as an option over the Wrath of the Skies, and then sometimes kind of that recency bias of just losing to Urza Saga there, but maybe could have lost just as easily to a big monster.
All right, we'll head into game 3 here. Both our players have won a game apiece. They're both sitting at 2-0, vying to crack into that min cash.
That min
cash bracket of
Ooh-wee.
weekly locals.
Tron.
Let's take a
Oh,
look
yeah.
at Matt
The
starting
best.
hand here.
Hey, Matt, big round of applause. Best power plant art in the game.
Yeah, is that your favorite one?
Best
The
art.
bug one?
The bug is the best.
Mm-mm.
All right.
And he's got the white border ones too. It makes it
Oh,
real
yeah.
easy to see.
I used to love playing with white border Tron lands because it was incredibly easy to spot Tron in your hand.
Yeah.
Right? Of just being like, the white border cards are Tron lands and just like looking at them. And then I unfortunately got signed Antiquity Tron lands.
Unfortunately.
And now they just don't have the white border to make it really easy.
Oh no, poor me.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So I really appreciate all the support.
Yeah.
But I,
Go,
yeah.
go to like a support group. Like, hi, my name's Dom.
I don't get to play my whiteboarders anymore.
Hi, Dom.
And I'm not gonna flame anybody here on the NRG series
really?
little live stream, but there is a fellow flex slot homie on the team who played mismatched Tron lands and made me lose my gosh dang mind.
I mean, we have a non-flex up player that mismatches them as well.
Yeah, and I can't stand it to the point that I'm literally probably going to grab 12 Tron lands out of my collection and just hand them to them. Like, please, just play matching Tron lands.
And then we got Alex, who's got the altered ones as well.
Oh, that was like some anime stuff
It's
on
got
them.
like the anime girls on them, yeah.
Thankfully, they've been on a Cabal Coffers kick for a while, and we haven't had to see
Totally,
them.
yeah. No, Alex plays like exclusively black decks now.
Now, this is old school Tron right here. A nice Moldify, love it.
Dude, when my opponent molds a 5, I'm like, oh, you poor thing.
Yeah.
And then they mold a 4, I'm like, you
You
son of a gun. You monster.
It's one of my favorite tweets of like, opponent molds a 6, you're like, oh, dude, no problem, you got this. Molds a 5, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Molds a 3, you son of a.
We'll see if Matt finds. It looks like he has a keepable 5 here.
Yeah,
See an Urza Saga again.
Yeah, and I'm seeing this Devourer of Destinies, which is a card that can help the Tron player clean up.
There goes the bug land.
Yeah, but losing a land is going to be rough. There's a lot of fat in this hand.
I have lost so many games to mulliganing away a land.
Yes.
So many games.
But here's Devourer of Destinies, and Matt has Ugin's Labyrinth in hand. So he gets to set up this draw and then pitch this Devourer into the Labyrinth. Just a perfect 1-2 designed here out of MH3.
Indeed.
Having this Devourer as a card that can allow you to kind of take that peek, and then the perfect card to tuck under the Ugin's Labyrinth. I remember when MH3 was spoiled, the very first card that I knew was going to have an impact was this Devourer. But that's because he always got them Tron goggles on.
Indeed, yeah. Play out the lab, tuck the Devourer, play the Mind Stone.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is this early game of just this Tron deck getting set up. I was talking about how we didn't spot any sowing Myco spawns out of Matt's deck. That's probably where the expedition maps are. We don't have any talismans. That's mostly where these Mind Stone slots are. Just kind of tracking where the classic Tron meets the new Tron.
Little cheeky wink there from Matt.
Oh, Matt's been winking a couple of times.
Oh,
here.
really?
Oh,
I must
yeah.
have missed him.
Yeah, you never know. As a fellow camera ham, I get it, Matt. It makes a really good profile photo if you go back and find it.
Oh, yeah.
Or a
good emote.
A meme emote in
for the Discord, yeah.
Here is And I was wondering, because Matt's not playing these Stowing Myco spawns, but is playing the Eldrazi Temple, is kind of losing a little bit of the benefit of this card, but still able to use it for the big cards and the Thought Knot Seers. So still pulling its weight is the Eldrazi Temple.
Matt playing that Temple and
Oh,
passing. Back
yes.
to his turn. Is that
Yes, Matt.
Thundering Titan?
Yes, Matt. This is my favorite card in Tron.
Yo.
Okay, I also was like, I'm still going to main deck one of these in Tron because, oh my goodness. Now, George thankfully has this Mystic Gate, so if Matt ever gets to cast this Sundering Titan, it's not completely lights out.
Did he plays Mystic Gate?
Yes, it allows you to get Sacred Foundry and then Mystic Gate and still cast your counterspell while also being able to filter mana back into being able to escape your Flage and getting that double white.
Okay, I see.
And George,
the mana in Jeskai is so
it's so
rough.
wild.
It's rough.
And this is a domain version, so there's 2 Triomes in here now too. And that's the Arena of Glory gone. So.
Oh, I thought he was just like paying extra for the Leyland. He actually has green mana?
Yes, there's a Catcher, a Triumph, and a Rafine's.
Ah.
So that allows...
That's black and green?
So there's Esper and Teamer. So
Thank you.
no alongside a fetch completes full domain, but grabbing 2 blue Triumphs to together start creating domain.
Got it. Back on Matt's turn. A little bit of land go between our 2 players.
Beautiful power
See a
play.
land or a spellcast tier and Kozilek's command
for 4. This is I want to probably create these Scions because Sundering Titan lingers.
Matt won't be able to do anything though in the face of actual factual counterspell, courtesy of MagicCon Chicago.
Yeah. But this Kozilek's command is an instant, so Matt using it for its intended purpose. That's a mine alongside our power plant. But Matt kind of pressuring the mana of George, having him use that counterspell, then untapping, but unable to use this untap window to start applying any pressure, try to resolve any spells.
Yeah, real awkward there. 2 cards in hand from Matt. George on his turn plays and taps the One Ring.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Matt still 2 actual factual mana away from this Sundering Titan. But that's an Expedition map.
That's something.
Which can filter 3 of your mana into a tower, which will be net neutral currently.
Right.
Wait. Yeah, 1 mana for this map. Oh no, we're gonna be able to Titan
2 crack.
Yeah,
oh
because
no, you can because you got the Mind Stone.
Yes.
No, oh no way.
Yeah, George.
2
George
for
Smart.
1 on an expedition map, but it's actually the right
Matt,
play.
I'm so sorry. George has played just enough against Tron to realize what you were trying to do. Yeah, because specifically that would have been enough to crack the map, find the tower, have full Tron for 7. +1 for the Mind Stone up to 8, and that would have been old Sunny T.
Yeah.
And would have taken out 3 of these lands from George Jabor.
George with the One Ring is just able to refill his hand, so the 2 for 1 doesn't even hurt him that much.
Also, George has yet to play a single Consign to Memory or Charmaw.
Oh, I forgot about those. We're in sideboards,
yeah,
dude.
so this game could turn on a dime any second from now.
100%.
Matt was very excited to assemble Tron. I understand the frustration. I've been there, tried that.
Yeah.
Staring down at a hand that doesn't have nearly the amount of mana we were hoping for. George, unknowingly, probably going to grab a Triome here. Just going to lick your lips a little bit more for your Sunny T targets. Yes! Black target!
That's the Rafine's tower. Still missing green.
Yes. That'll fully unlock the most powerful Sunny T.
Dom's so excited.
I love
He's literally teammates with George, and he's cheering for him to get 5 lands blown up.
There are some things that are the most strong, and it is
the need for content.
Yeah. What's most likely going to happen is no matter what, Matt will reach enough mana to do so, and he'll be met with a single Consign.
Oh god, 1 mana for your 8 mana spell.
Here is Obsidian Charmaw, I imagine, going after the Labyrinth with the Devour under it, getting the 2 for 1 there.
Yeah, just let him have the Tron, because you've got a grip full of cards.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have completed Tron for Matt, so on top of this is a guaranteed taking 2 mana away from Matt if we target down the Ugin Labyrinth.
Dude, the chatters can't see because they're across 2 platforms, but we got the YouTube side cheering on Matt and the Twitch side cheering on George.
They don't know that they're enemies. The Labyrinth here activated, picking up the Devour as it's eaten by Obsidian Charmaw, which I forget all the time, is a 4/4 flying dragon.
Yeah.
On top of everything else this card does.
Dude, they're flaming George in chat. That's so
How
good.
dare, how dare, how dare,
I won't repeat it.
how dare,
It's a low kick.
how dare, how dare, how dare. And now this Obsidian Charmo is going to be the queen for George for the rest of these games in the sense of a protect the queen style strategy of making sure this Charmo lives. We only need to get in for a couple attacks with this before we can really take down and beat up on our Tron opponent here in Matt.
I've gotten so excited. I keep forgetting to update live totals. There we go. 12-20 in Matt's favor. Board state shows things a little different.
Yeah, Matt really needs to find that third Tron piece and then just hope to either have some cast triggers or have something resolve, but consign to memory a new card is going to fight back against that as well. And here's Solitude to really ramp up the clock for George.
George will fetch out a Plains, bringing him up to 7 lands to Matt's 3.
Yeah. And now this is a 7 damage, so this is now a 3-turn clock. These two threats attacking down Matt's life total.
With the Solitude, the bird encounters are a little less relevant. Matt's got a response, though, instant speed. Kozilek's command.
Which is being forced. Hard check. Yeah, Matt's just done.
Yeah.
Seeing the writing on the wall, that was kind of the last piece. Just a hand of, there's the boy. And Matt has this look that I wonder if this might be a Karn target that was accidentally left in the main, but then suddenly a dream realized when drawn out of the deck. But George, that well-timed force early on to deal with that map, and a force now to deal with this command, and Jeskai control taking it down 2-1.
Yeah, George has been a control player the entire time I've known him, really putting on a good showing there. Matt tried his best, could not take down our Season 1 champion. George will advance to 3-0 on the night. Matt's still in the running for some cash later on in round 4. We'll check out our backup match and see if they're still going on there, Dom. We see if Devin and his opponent are still playing. Folks on YouTube, if you're enjoying our content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're live with Modern coverage every Wednesday night at 6:30, as well as Pokemon coverage on Thursdays at 6:30. We have great commentary over there as well. Dan Hugar and usually Rafal or Eli and any of the other teams, but Dan's our main commentator over there. I hope you're enjoying it right now. Let us know what other kinds of decks you want to see. Our backup match has sadly finished, so we don't have more coverage for you this round. But before we go, we'll talk about, let me see, do we have the NRG event? It's the wrong city, though. Curse you, Taylor Swift. She's hosting a concert the same weekend we have our Indianapolis event, so it has been retconned to appear in Elmhurst, Chicago. Still the same dates, though, November 2nd and 3rd. 10K Modern Showdown, 5K Pioneer Showdown as well. Double Showdown weekend, which means 2 chances for you to qualify for a championship event. $35,000, 24 players, and a chance to go to the Pro Tour. If that sounds like something that's up your alley, check us out in Elmhurst in November. Lots of fun side events, lots of money to win, regardless if you don't get that first place. But if you do also get a custom Inkling Customs token. You get to pick whatever token you want. Our most recent winners picked, let's see, we got Merfolk, Construct. Dom Harvey picked a floating mana counter. Lots of different things. Dom wants like a reminder, like trigger token. I'd pick an Angel. Chat, let us know in chat what you'd pick. That being said, though, we're going to head into a quick break. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching. Welcome back, folks. We're in our final round. I think we've picked our hero and villain. We got Smiley Face versus Frowny Face. I'm going to get these folks started.
Well, it is also red versus blue for the color sleeves. That's your classic hero versus villain matchup, depending who you ask. May returning to the feature match area. We saw May earlier today on this Eyeball Frogtide, kind of an unearthed version, but still rocking classic Frogtide cards. Devin here playing a very similar 75 to 75 rocking by George DeBoer last round. These flex folks stay together. Devin, a member of that Just Guy Control cabal among all these flex slot folks. And starting off here with that turn 1 Tameo.
There we go.
Which, funny enough, actually gives a target for May's like fatal pushes, as we see a push happening right now. A card that would be relatively dead for May now being unlocked and answering this Tameo.
Put her down to 17 off her fetch shock.
Yeah, finding this watery grave.
All right, two. I would call Frogtide, I guess, maybe more tempo than control,
Yeah,
but
this is the middle, right? It is not an aggressive deck. It is not a mid-range classic. It is not control. It is much more this counter spell, removal spell, one threat, which is how I usually typically define tempo, of people trying to be tricksy, instant speedy, counter spell, removal spells, small threats. It feels like tempo all the way, however you want to define it.
Indeed, Devin.
Devin debating which Triome is the one of interest right now. I would imagine the one that makes white mana to unlock the white cards in the deck. But I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But today is not that day. As the Rafine's Tower comes on in, this is Esper unlocking our white mana while revealing the black splash. Remember, we saw before, these splashes are to unlock Leyline Binding, a very powerful removal spell here for these Jeskai control decks. And especially with the popularity of blue-black in this Frog deck, one, the Jeskai deck is playing Supreme Verdict to be able to mop up the threats, but also decks in the blue-black color pie have a very hard time answering a resolved enchantment, which then makes the Leyline Binding a powerful spell once it's resolved.
Indeed. Sorry, I'm uploading deck list here. I don't think Devin submitted one. I'm just going to use George's again.
Yep. Yeah. This thing in a stupor, bolted in for May, and then a Thought Scour and 2 mana gone wasted, but most likely preserving mana for something. Here's an Unearth targeting the eyeball that was Thought Scoured over. Devin shrugs and says, okay, and here comes the Oculus.
Yeah, this card did a lot of work in May's first feature match tonight.
Yeah,
gets a lot of bodies on the board.
And we saw the power of Unearth, and that's how May snuck into play this time as well, using just 1 mana, allowing the ability to hold up and keep the interaction for the other pieces. I'm really loving the use of these Unearths because they're just so cheap.
Yeah, it's a single mana, and it also, you could just like flip over a Murktide, flip over a eyeball.
It just allows that plus
flip
2
over
mana.
a Harbinger.
Yeah, and then flip it up immediately to locking Devin's mana on blue.
Okay,
now.
Yeah, nice 4 islands.
Yeah,
that's rough. He's got a fetch, which is another
island.
That's
an island. But the card
Untapped
in hand,
island.
The card in hand on the far left is Lorien revealed. And I know if Devin's just gonna snap off draw 3.
May's tapped out. I think now would be.
And he has this Solitude and on the hunt for kind of a white card. But also the option could be Solitude, this Harbinger, pitching this Prismatic Ending, and then have the availability of all of your mana. But if Devin wants to do it, now might be the time before your blue-black opponent untaps with their interactive mana.
He'll Solitude now.
Right, to unlock his mana before giving Counterspell Magic back to May.
Sure. I dig it. Pitch the Prismatic Ending. Bring life totals up to 16 all.
It's so funny to watch as the Supreme Verdict hits the stack, Devin's Jeskai control deck versus George's, as it's the exact opposite card printings. Like we have Devin here on this
just the default
the default classic choices versus George's. It's like the night and day version of the deck to each other.
He's got the special guest Prismatic Ending in his deck.
I'm in love with the art on that card.
I have never seen anyone else play that card, printing, besides George.
Yeah, well, I'm a little busy, but I got them too. I picked them up at nerdragegaming.com because I put them on my wish list.
Sure, but I don't see you play because you're back here with me, bud.
I ain't got that time.
Gotta go somewhere else for a local.
Boo.
mean, yay. I
Yes.
think we're so fortunate to have so many great LGSs in the area.
Yes. Big shouts to all the LGSs in the area. Big
Mhm.
shout out to the 25 people here playing
Yeah.
week 4 of our NRG Modern League. This
Season
Lori Reveal
3.
hardcast shot down by Counterspell. Season
Yeah.
3. Indeed. And now we have this frog and immediately feeding the fatal push to the frog because that card's not going to be used.
I don't think there's anything fatal pushable. I guess the Tameo.
The Tameo
and then if revolted, the Flage.
Yeah.
I don't think it really
And
I mean,
I won a game a few weeks ago against a Fatal Push deck by just resolving Solitude and then realizing it's just like the one thing you can't push.
Oh, absolutely. How do you push an elemental?
Yeah, how do you even push? He goes right through him.
Yeah, right. Phase
And
through.
you speak of it and they shall appear.
There's an
The Flage
elemental.
getting actual factual counterspelled here.
Oof, oof. No
Devin
pass
making sure to
trigger
have
there.
the
That
correct
one
mana.
is an ETB.
And it will not ET the B this time. And then here's Prismatic ending for 2 on the bigger frog.
Was MH did
Phooey.
MH3 have the shortened enters on it, or was that after? I think
I
Bloomborough.
think it started. Yeah, Bloomborough.
I think
sounds
Bloomborough
right.
had it. Yeah.
And I hate it. I'm gonna say ETB.
Really?
It just rules. ETB
I mean,
6.
ETB. Yeah, I've just said forever. I think enters doesn't really change
Enters
anything.
is a sloppy word. Say it with your mouth. Enters. Bleh.
Bro.
ETB. ETB hits.
Sure.
And it's
Sure.
all about the mouthfeel. Devin here,
Oh,
card on the top. Not going to do it. These 2 frogs taking it down. Game number 1 being taken down here by blue-black eyeball Frogtide. Really on the backbone. Again, as we saw when May was on camera earlier, the power of Unearth. Just being so cheap, so easy to try to sneak your threat into play while holding up your mana. That allowed May to function through the mid-game, then resolving a frog and then another frog pushed through the interaction of Devin's Jeskai control deck.
all right. These players play fast, so we'll take a look
Yes.
at.
These players are both very fast.
Indeed, we'll take a look at deck list real quick here. We've
Frog
seen both
Ball?
of these on. That's what she named it
Frog
on.
Ball's good.
On
All right.
Moxfield, so that's what I've got here for her.
We're looking at these consigned memories: Stern Scoldings, Surgical Extraction, Break the Ice, Mystical Dispute, Toxic Deluge, and Nihil Spell Bomb. Give me these Surgicals because Flage is a card that's difficult for this deck, so it allows you a very clean answer to try to tag it out of the graveyard and get all future copies. Mystical Dispute because this is a blue deck on blue deck war, so you want to be able to fight back. And Nihil Spellbomb for the same reason. Flage is just that hard for you to beat, and Spellbombing at least cycles, so it's basically a free include.
Yeah, Brickman, Unearth. This card has
It's
done
so good.
work
It's
tonight.
really good with the eyeball.
It's
and really
done
good with the
work
frog.
of it.
Yeah.
Ah.
Because May using Thought Scours here and Considers just allow to get that card just into the graveyard on accident. Unearth being 1 mana has allowed May to have other spells to protect and resolve the Unearth on either the eyeball or the frog.
And we'll remind
And the Harbinger, sorry.
Yes. We'll remind folks of basically what Devin's playing here. I just fully left George's deck
Yep.
list in.
Yeah, it
I don't
says
know
George
if
as
you're
well. Shouts to Devin.
aware of the changes between
No.
the 2 deck lists.
This sounds good to me. These Soul Guide Lanterns at the bottom here, these are good to bring in. Control the graveyard. It's even more important playing against this Unearth style strategy. It'll eat the cards that Frog would try to fly with. It exiles the eyeballs if they end up in there, and it makes Murktide itty bitty. So that's why you want those pieces there. And again, these players do play fast.
Like I
Land
said,
go,
yeah.
land go. We're on the move.
Here we go.
And I think Devin might have done some light sideboarding. Maybe confined use for Charm Off, you need a threat, or Consign if you can think there's just the right triggers somewhere. I'm not sure what they are, but they could exist. These Jeskai players are much smarter than me, but I imagine it might just be bringing in those 2 lanterns and trying to lean on the power of this main deck.
Hedging between the Triumphs once again. We'll opt for that one.
The Ketria Triumphs
There we
is
go.
our green, red, and blue Triumph.
One day I will remember all of the Triumphs.
A
and the
lot of
colors that
names,
they
a lot of
make.
arts. Here's the Mystic Gate, and Consider.
For some reason, I nailed the Surveillance within like a couple of days.
Yeah, those ones are fun.
And maybe it's because I actually play Standard.
Right, put them into play.
Yeah.
Here's the Flooded Strain and a pass for May. A Cyclist Lorien revealed makes sense. Just using your mana to casually take game actions, but not big fights, are kind of how these early games for these blue decks go.
Yo, speaking of land cycles, remember the bicycle lands from Amonkhet?
Yeah,
Yeah. Can you name all those? Ooh.
yeah,
Okay, I'll start. Canyon Slope?
sure. Irrigated Farmland.
Shoot, that was going to be my next one. Oh, why didn't I think of more before we started? Here, you go, you go. I'll go again. I'll go after.
Dang, this sounds like cheating.
Fetid pool. Fetid pools.
Yep.
Yep.
And then there's a green red one.
Anyway, back down to the action here, folks. Live total is sitting at 19 all. We're on game 2. May won the first one. Devin trying to take a game off her here. Let's look. I'm gonna look at the leaderboard real quick. I don't think Devin's too high up there, but I believe May is.
Devin's good, but plays too casually, and May here fighting.
Devin comes to Modern looking to play Legacy.
Yeah, just kind of playing whenever, whatever. When the itch hits, this Jeskai control deck is always ready. And we're continuing this back and forth, resolving considers and the like.
May's lower down than I thought. She didn't show up the first couple of weeks.
Le gasp.
For those keeping track at home, George, that we had on earlier, sitting at 2nd place. Let's see who else we had on stream. No one else. But I'll just run down top 8 here. Blake T, George Jabor, Joseph A, Kai Cruz, Michael Ryan, Richard Lisitza, JT Vasquez, and Brian Tepper.
Sick.
All vying for, we already have nearly $400 in the prize pool.
Dang.
Going out to top 8. 10-week pool this time. We want to wrap it up before the holiday season and then give our players a long break before we start again, probably January. Get a couple more sets under the belt, see if Modern shakes up a little bit from standard stuff. We'll see an eyeball come down for May.
Yeah, went through all that time kind of doing the Delve 6 this card requires. This Leyline Binding trying to fight. May brought in consigns because they are good against Jeskai and consigning the ETB of the Leyline Binding. This is a part that people realized early on when using consign as a sideboard piece, that you could consign Binding, but then Bindings moved out of the control deck for a while, and now they're back. And here's a force on the One Ring that Devin drew. Devin probably felt like a moment after seeing the consign go away, but the force answering it. I want to again harp on the importance of consign. It's good against Leyline Binding, it's good against Flage, and it's good against the Ring.
I love a Tishana's Tie Binder, but a consign costs 2 less mana.
Sure does. And here's a pitch Solitude with Prismatic Ending to deal with the eyeball, because it's going to be a big threat. Many folks call these an army in a can of a big threat that brings more with it. Would just continue to constant
like a barrel of monkeys.
Like a barrel of monkeys, exactly.
Ooh, there's Brickman. He got a Scattered Grove and Sheltered Thicket.
I knew it was a thicket. I just was stuck on Firelit. Dang it. All right. Here is the Harbinger of the Tides. Devin did all that fighting, and now mana base locked down. Frog and a 2/2 rumbling.
Yeah, Devin looks like to be.
I thought Devin was conceding. I thought it was a moment just be like, we're done. We're out of here.
Devin's a quick scooper.
Yeah.
He knows when a game is not worth his time, basically.
Yeah, and here's the Frog with a hit and a pickup of the mana. Big draw is just a 5th mana source, but I don't see a Solitude.
Devin is on Tameo.
Yeah, using Tameo is in that value blue 1-drop slot. It was played out game 1, turn 1, and pushed by May.
Alpha Strike here for May brings Devin to 7.
And then picks up another eyeball and a land here to play. Play out the eyeball. Get all those cards out of here. Wowzers. Pass it back. Big rips. It's a land. And that's the game. Going 2 games to 0 to Frog Ball for May. Welcome back. Really enjoying this new card. May picked it up to play RCQ this weekend. Fixed the deck. Put in these unearths and really allowed more of this self-mill package. May was cooking over the weekend on Twitter, but boy, does it look like it paid off this week. Congrats on the 4-0-2-0 here for May. Frog Ball versus Jeskai Control.
Yeah, great finish from our players there. Great performance from both of them. May, really solid deck building. I think this was all like self-brewed, right?
Yeah, I'm loving it. So good.
Good stuff. I love when people dip into the new sets and find success with that. That's what they're there for, even though Modern has, my God, so many cards to pull from. There's always new stuff to play with, and this one looks like it did a lot of good work for May. Before we head out, because that was our very last match of the night, we'll run through some quick ads. If you don't want to stick around, which I don't judge you for, of course. Please do. I would appreciate it. I'm going to run some ads as well that help support the stream. But just make sure to hit that follow button if you're on Twitch, subscribe button if you're on YouTube, live every Wednesday and Thursday with Magic and Pokemon, respectively. Speaking of, if you want to buy any of the cards you've seen tonight or any of the tens of thousands we have in stock at Nerd Rage Gaming, head on over there and purchase them today. You can ship them to your door, pick them up in store, or grab them at an Energy Series event. We're listing more cards every day, so add them to your wish list if we don't have them currently in stock. And we're adding our our other catalog of cards that we have on another site. So we are adding Magic Foils, Pokemon, Digimon, One Piece, Lorcana, and soon to be Union Arena.
Ooh.
Lots of good games and lots of good cards for you to purchase. We have a loyalty program as well. So the more you spend, the more you save. Energy NYC when we're in the Midwest. We're definitely a Midwest circuit. Speaking of, our next event is not in Indianapolis because there's a certain pop star that just insisted on having. She saw that we had scheduled, and she was like, actually, those nerds have gotten too comfortable. They need to know that the normies have a lot of power. So Taylor Swift booked up all of Indianapolis. We made a quick
Swapperoo.
Swapperoo. We're now in Elmhurst. Same dates, though, November 2nd and 3rd. 10K Modern Showdown, 5K Pioneer Showdown. Win a showdown, qualify for our championship event, $35,000, the winner of which goes to the Pro Tour. Sound good to you? Show up. Sign up on Melee today. Lots of fun side events as well. You can play Chaos Drafts. Might have Mystery Booster 2 in the works. Who knows? Oversized cards, uncut sheets, Ultimate Guard product. We also have artists on site as well, official Magic artists, so you can get your cards signed, get artist proofs, original prints, all that jazz. If you want to check out the deck list that we had featured tonight, you can hit up our players in our Discord. That also gives you access to promotional announcements and all the different channels where you can find people to play with, teammates for Energy team events. You can talk to staff, ask them questions there. Check out the QR code there. That'll also link you to the Energy Series Discord as well, where you can communicate with any of our staff or players as well. Let me see our weekly schedule. We've got so many different ways to enjoy playing games at the store. Here's all the ways you can do them. On Monday, we have Commander and Digimon. Commander's free to play. We give out promo packs, and you can play anything from a pre-con to a CEDH deck, though some of those decks might be looking a little bit different these days.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
Rule Zero's a thing.
I think it's fine.
Don't worry about it. I just traded for a Shadow Sign Jeweled Lotus. I'm playing that. It's beautiful. Anyway, Tuesdays, we don't need to get into that whole thing. Tuesdays, we've got One Piece League and Lorcana. One Piece League just started their 6th season. You know it's doing well. They had like 30 people out yesterday. Modern and One Piece vying for who can put the most butts in seats for a local. Pretty impressive there. Lorcana, we've got our Shimmering Skies set champs on October 12th. Show up for that. Lots of fun promos there. Wednesday, of course, is Modern. We're live with our streams on Twitch and YouTube at 6:30. Thursday, we're live with our Pokemon stream on Twitch and YouTube. We have great commentators over there, as well as our second Commander night. Friday is Boomer Zoomer F&M with Legacy and Standard. Hit up our Discord if you're looking for Standard cards to play with. We have a very generous and welcoming community there, as well as our Standard. We have Standard players with like 4 or 5 decks apiece. So if you need a Standard deck, we also have the new Welcome decks. With Duskworn, LGSs were given Welcome decks, so you can just get a free deck, join a local, and try out Standard if you're looking to do that. We also have One Piece, and then Saturday wraps up our schedule with our Digimon League. They're currently competing for spots on the circuit. I think we have 5 or 6 people qualified for that. So lots of good stuff there. And then Union Arena is joining our schedule on Wednesday nights. Pre-release for that is next Wednesday. If you like Hunter x Hunter, Bleach, or Jujutsu Kaisen, those are the first IPs for that game. Or if you just want to check out a new TCG, give it a go. It'll be on Wednesdays. I think that wraps up. I think that was pretty good, dude.
Yeah, good.
Good stuff, man. Dom, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me. Highlight of my week.
Thanks so much. I'm really glad to be back off sick leave as well. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Take care.
Bye.